Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth? Static selection.
Yeah, we all reppin' for Boston, Mass. All green, everything. Brought up, we were bleeding green. You ain't got our history, homie. We all reppin' for Boston, Mass. All green, everything. Brought up, we were bleeding green. You ain't got our history, homie.
Static selection.
Yeah.
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
Really look at the evidence.
Mic check to the gods. If you look at the evidence, you'll see the truth. If you look at the evidence, you will see the truth. If you look at the evidence, you will see the truth. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Would you believe it? Can we talk about this cup of coffee? Message from the flight deck. I go by the name of J.F.K. And if you have any carry-on items with you today, please put them up in the overhead compartments. And if you have a backpack, please stick it underneath the seat. Keep it real tight. Because things move in flight. But before you do, take out your Cliff Bars, your Nips, your vapes, Hershey's peanut butter, Hershey's, Reese's peanut butter cups, whatever your vice might be. Put your trays up, because I'm about to take you up to 39,000 feet. Yes, we got goals in different area codes. Please populate them goals and let's get the conversation moving. And turbulence in the chat keeps the plane rocking. Can we talk about this cup of coffee? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about if we investigate, what are we going to find? Are we going to find it was a cab driver on the scene on July 23rd of 1995? Can I paint the picture? But before I do, can we talk about this cup of coffee? Can we talk about the little shit in life when you just go to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, or you got your Keurig, or you brew it up yourself, whatever your vice might be? Just a little shit, that cup of coffee. Things we look forward to. Do you have your cup of coffee? Ladies and gentlemen of the chat, do you have your cup of coffee handy? Because if you do, talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Truth and transparency has a good stream, but long kind of lays it all out and supports everything J.F.K. said months ago. Okay, that's cool. Kindness is your middle name, J.F.K. Keeping it real as always. Becky, yes, let's go. Got my hot cocoa ready to go. Here we go. Gifted 1 J.F.K. membership. Becky coming through, populating for sure. Sticking with the good. La tubas. Someone bring me a coffee. I'm so tired. Coffee is in the mix. I do. My Keurig is my life. Last night, though. For real. Coffee and a cup of hot cocoa. Wow, here we go. We ready? Are we ready? Can we talk? Can I talk to you for a minute? Can we talk about this cup of coffee? Can I talk to you over this cup of coffee for a minute? I want to know all your names. I mean, I really do. Can we talk for a minute over this cup of coffee?
I went in about 4 or 5 hours after to get the kitty litter box and the kitten. That was it. And what I seen, to this day, I don't wish anyone to see what I saw.
Clown! You are a clown! Clown!
I went in about 4 or 5 hours after to get the kitty litter box and the kitten. That was it. And what I seen.
Well, see, the problem with that whole story is, Adi, there was no kitten and there was no kitty litter, but there was a dog. We're trying to understand the whole situation. You're looking for your car key on July 23rd of 1995. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what we have here, we have a guy named Adi Ortiz. He sold weed. March of 1995, he left the house. He lived in the house. He was a resident at 71 Boston Street, Janet Downing's house. She had 2 boys, twins. Would you believe it? Ryan, Paul. She had a daughter, Erin, another daughter named Carrie Ann, the older one. She was 20 at the time, and she just had a baby. Across the street was Big Ed O'Brien and Trisha, Ma Dukes. They have a daughter. They have a daughter, too. They had a baby in the house, 2 years old. They just had a baby. They just had a baby that was 2 months old. And they had his older sister. Eddie's older sister. I'm getting a brain fart here. Jeannie, excuse me. His older sister, Jeannie. Is it his older sister or is it his younger sister? I think it's his younger sister. Jeannie was his younger sister, too. No, excuse me. That's his older sister. So Jeannie is his older sister. Then he had a 2-year-old in the house, and he had a 2-month-old baby in the house across the street. That's Eddie O'Brien's house. Grandfather living there. Grandfather is going through cancer. At that time of this murder, Ed O'Brien's dad, who he was taking care of during a rough patch of cancer, fighting cancer. Would you believe it? He held it down for his dad. He was there for his dad. His dad was hurt, and his dad wasn't doing good. He watched his dad go. Shortly, 2 years later, he watched his son go to jail for life in Walpole State Prison. 17. Did he do it? I don't know. Did he? JFK. How do you know? I don't. I don't know. But I do know there was DNA underneath her fingernail clippings. I want to know. Based on everything that I'm looking at, I studied the Karen Reed case. I studied the Karen Reed case. I seen what I seen at the waterfall. I seen a guy named Higgins, Brian Higgins. Hey, Brian, you out there, buddy? Kevin from South Boston. Also seen another guy named Big Bad Brian A. Guy could throw a serious punch. Fuck you up real quick. Beat you down. I seen what was going on in the bar. A lot of shenanigans going on in that bar. And then shortly after, John O'Keefe, R.I.P. John O'Keefe, R.I.P. Janet Downer. John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe. Janet Downer. Janet Downer. We don't say their names enough. You know, there's another name that we don't say enough. God. Father God. Father God. Father God. Father God. We love you, Father God. Thank you. On this fine Sunday. This is your day, Father God. We're here with you today. Appreciate all the long games. Got 138 people with us today. God, Father God. We love you, Father God. We don't say your name enough. Thank you for everything. We know your power. We know your strength. I don't talk to you enough. I'm talking to you right now in a public space, Father God, and you're probably laughing at me. Because am I doing it for clout, Father God? I hope you would know that I can't lie to you. I know I can't lie to you, Father God. So I'm saying your name, Father God, because I truly believe in you. And I truly believe that you will guide us to the truth. Amen. So that's what was going on July 23rd of 1995. I seen it. The story doesn't make sense. He was on the porch chilling out. He was with John Roberts. Would you believe we talked to John Roberts? And John Roberts said, yeah, he was a good kid. And about a half hour before he allegedly went in and stabbed a woman 98 times, he said tomorrow we were going to go down to the basketball court and we're going to play a one-on-one because he was talking some shit about the hoops, man. He was talking shit to a young John Roberts about hoops. And Johnny said, meet me down the park tomorrow there, buddy-o. I don't care how tall you are, big boy. I'm about to school you. Didn't make sense. Never made sense to John Roberts. He was there July 23rd of 1995. Would you believe it? I talked to John Roberts. Did you? Did you talk to Johnny? I did. We did. The Lawn Gamers, the J.F.K. channel, Jay Brill, Kevy Kev, James Jackson. Where are you? For sure, for sure, for sure. It doesn't make sense. JFK, how could you say that he did not do this, JFK? He had a bloody fingerprint. He had an addiction to porn. He worked in that store, Midnight Variety. He was crushing on her, the telescope, all the weird stuff he told Ryan Downing about his mother was a lesbian and all these different things. But there was a guy named Riley who's no different than a guy named Morrissey. A guy named Riley had a CPAC team. A guy named Morrissey had a CPAC team. CPAC pulls up. They found taillights, 42 pieces. Oh, would you believe? 42 pieces they found. But that day, that morning of January 29 of 2022, that morning at 6 a.m., started getting light. There was no taillight pieces. There was about 7 cops, first responders, and a whole house full of people that had a powwow. Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and after they cleared the scene, of course, Big Bad Brian A being a cop after they were talking about John O'Keefe's death. We're talking about his death. He's here. We can't believe John died. He's dead. Oh my God. And he got hit outside by Karen. They never went outside to check the scene to figure out what happened. They never went outside to where John was laying down in the cold where he was found. If allegedly they didn't do it, if they didn't do it, wouldn't they go outside and investigate themselves? And if they did, they would have found 42 pieces of taillight, a hat, and a fucking sneaker. The CPAC unit pulled up. CPAC. They found the 42 pieces of tail light, a sneaker, and a hat. Riley was on the scene July 23rd of 1995, and he was rolling with the CPAC. Don't turn your back on the CPAC. You might end up in a body bag. And he was there, and they took 6 pints of blood from Eddie O'Brien at the hospital. And he was there. And meanwhile, his mind was on the money. His mind was on the next viral moment. Back in 1995, how do you go viral in 1995? What's the difference between 1995 viral moment and 2025 viral moment? Well, I can explain. Newspapers, political gains, money, where you live, the bars you go, the golf club, being popular, radio stations, talk radio. No different than now. It's no different. You want to believe, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to believe that everything is different? Do you? Everything is so different. It's not like when we grew up. Well, I could have sworn when I walked through the supermarket, back then I seen the Sun magazine. I seen the Inquirer magazine right there when I was checking out. Weird shit. Michael Jackson, Elvis is alive. There's UFOs. All these different things I seen the Inquirer. I seen Jerry Springer, fake fights on Jerry Springer. I seen Jenny Jones, Ricky Lake. I seen it all. I seen all the fuckery back then. No different when I turned the channel on YouTube. All the fuckery I'm seeing now. Be ashamed of yourself. Go ahead. Wear that shame. Wear it good. You should be ashamed of yourself. You ain't no different than the Inquirer. Things haven't changed. If you want the fuckery and you want to be a clown, you can be a fucking clown. And if you want to be corrupt and you want political gains and you want to set someone up and frame it up and have the opportunity, the window of opportunity, and do the framework, then you could do that in 95, 85, 75, or 2025. Things don't change. You live and you die. Take a deep breath. It might be your last one. That ain't going to change. Now, is it? But can we talk about this cup of coffee? Can we talk about this cup of coffee? How's your coffee doing, people? How's your coffee doing? How's your coffee doing?
Holding back the years, thinking of the fear I've had so long.
Turbulence in the chat. Turbulence in the chat.
Keeps the brain rocking. Listen to the fear that's gone.
This is your chat. This is your chat, people.
A peppermint mocha latte, enjoying my favorite YouTube channel. Hey, I'm enjoying your company. Thank you. E-Pags coming through with the 7-7. Everybody keep holding on. Sticking with the good. Got to keep holding on. Gifted one J.F.K. membership, Vicky J. But how do I know? How do I know? Can I be so sure that Eddie O'Brien didn't do this? How can I be so sure? Well, I'll tell you this. The frame up, the way it was going down, the frame up, the way I watched everything, the way I'm looking at everything, it's no different than the Karen Reed or to Riley, Morrissey, Riley, Morrissey, Riley, Riley, Morrissey, Morrissey, Riley, Riley, Morrissey. Morrissey, Riley, Riley, Morrissey. Tentacles, tentacles, tentacles. Woo-wee. But you know, one thing's not the same. There's victims in this case. And who's paying the fee? There is victims in this case. Janet Downing, John O'Keefe, Marquis Simmons, Francis Gigalotti. Victims. Sean Ellis did 22 years. He's home. He's been home for a little while now. But does that mean anything? Scapiccio. Tentacles. Riley. Tentacles. Morrissey. Tentacles. Karen Reed. Tentacles. Ed O'Brien. Tentacles. Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Tentacles. Marquis Simmons. Tentacles. Miles King. Tentacles. Francis Gigalotti. Tentacles. 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 Charles Stewart. Tentacles. Brian Albert. Higgins. Tentacles. I hit him. Tentacles. Investigate. Tentacles. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why are we here, people?
You wrong.
A lot of tentacles out there, people. We got to really put it into perspective. But last night on the show, we had Chrissy Jooms in the chat. I think her name was Chrissy, and she's the goddaughter of Artie. The goddaughter of Artie. He actually went to church, Catholic church, and said, I am the dad, the godfather, G-O-D. And she says she thinks Eddie O'Brien is innocent. All the while, everybody's pointing fingers at Artie Ortiz. This is his goddaughter. And she said, everybody in her family thinks Eddie's innocent. But she don't know if Artie did it. Artie never showed any violence or nothing like that. But that's a huge statement. So do I know if Eddie O'Brien did this? Well, I'm finding out. I'm doing my due diligence with my team. Jay Brilliant, my long gamers. Everybody who's sending me information, the more and more we peel back the layers, the more and more we go live, the more and more we feed this story, this fire, the more and more we feed this fire with gasoline. We're not just going to throw cold water on it and go to the drama. No. Because I seen the Inquirer, I seen the Sun magazine, I seen all that. It's been the same shit. You could be viral in 85, 95, and you could be viral 05, you could be viral in 2015, and you could be viral in 2025. Every 10 years, you can be viral. And if you want a viral moment and you're doing it for the views and you want to feed that fuckery and that's what you want your legacy to be, if that's what you want your legacy to be, congratulations. You want to be the spectacle? You want to be the contrarian? Well, we fact check the contrarians. And here's a fun fact. Stay in your place. I said everyone knows that I feel Eddie's innocent. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm putting words in your mouth. Sorry, Chrissy Jones. She said everyone in her family knows that Eddie's innocent. She feels Eddie's innocent. Excuse me. Maybe her family don't agree with that. Disclaimer. Sorry about that, Chrissy. Thank you for joining us today. Chrissy Jones. Everybody, if I'm saying your name right, peace signs up for Chrissy being brave, saying she thinks Eddie's innocent, even though her godfather is Artie Ortiz. Would you believe it, man? And I'm not trying to spin the story. And I'm not trying to make it seem like she thinks Artie did it. No, I'm just saying. She's even with the possibility that there could be a third party. Is it Artie? We don't know. Could it still be Eddie? For sure. He was there. He was there. Anybody that was there could have done this or had something to do with this. So let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Jay Brill is here today. Jay Brill is here today. Jay Brill on a Sunday. But you know, can I take you back to DYS, the tentacles? Can I take you back to an episode that I did on DYS Untold? Because I've been talking about juvenile detention for a long time and what they put us through and where it all starts. And these are some of the things that Eddie went through when he was in DYS. This is with me right here. This is called the 8th Bed, Somerville, Massachusetts. Check it out.
DYS Untold.
DYS Untold.
Welcome to DYS Untold. So what I want to talk about is Somerville Mentor, Cross Street, Somerville, Massachusetts. The year was 1988. Somerville Mentor, Cross Street, Somerville, Massachusetts. Welcome to DYS Untold. So Somerville Mentor, when I first went there, they only housed 7 kids, but they had 1 extra bed, and it was called the 8th bed. The 8th bed was the shit bed. You did not want to be in the 8th bed. They used to drive us to this DYS around 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you was the 8th bed. So they used to just rush you in, make you take a shower, put you in this room, you would go to sleep. That morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, you're a young kid, 12, 13, 14, they'd pick you up, shackle, handcuff you, drive you court to court to court, dropping all the DYS kids off all the way back to Middleton Intake. Now, Middleton Intake was on Gregory Road, I think it was. Now, Gregory Road in Middleton is right next to Danvers, and it's on the same property as the Danvers State Hospital. And farmhouses that they used to house us in, because that's exactly what they were. They were farmhouses. Intake, where kids would sit there all day. We would sit there, we would get there, say 1 o'clock p.m., and we would sit there until 8 o'clock at night. And the DYS transportation, they would figure out where you was going, and they would come in and they would say, you're going to Brockton, you're going to Somerville, you're going to Westboro, you're going to Rosendale. And it's funny because the girl DYS kids, they were right there too. So we was actually sitting intake on these couches, eating Cheez-Its, watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off, all the movies that was out back then. They would go drop all the kids off, and then they would circle back and drop you off. You would be the last person they would drop off in Somerville, because it was making its way back towards Middleton. You would get there 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, all the DYS kids are sleeping, and they would just rush you in. Take a shower, you gotta take all your clothes off, strip down, take a shower. Then you go in this room with some kid, and he's still awake, and you're the eighth bed, you say a couple of words, you climb up on the punk bunk, and then you would go to sleep. And then that morning, 6 o'clock, here comes transportation. They're picking you up, shackling you, handcuffed. You're in the van with all these other DYS kids, and they're going court to court to court, dropping all the kids off. The reason why I'm saying this, because it's traumatizing, right? The trauma of it, to think that, you're going all these places inside this transportation van, shackled and handcuffed, going inside these courthouses. Kids getting dropped off. You see kids coming in crying, they're getting picked up. You're at Middleton intake all day, so you're bumping into everybody. Because when you're that eighth bed, you're going back to the intake. So once you go back there, you're sitting there, you bump into all your friends or kids that you've seen before throughout the system going in and out, and you're having these conversations with these kids. So what you see right here is Somerville Mentor actually added another side to it. That other side, now at that point, I think they held like 16 kids. But as you can see,
This is Somerville Mentor on Cross Street. This is actually where Eddie's from. This is on Cross Street. I see Shannon in the chat. Shannon probably knows where this is at. So back in the day, basically in a nutshell, on the right-hand side, there was only one side to the place, right? Well, there was the left-hand side, but they didn't use it at the time. So when I actually went there on the right-hand side, there was only 8 beds. So you basically, the extra, you would overflow. So every day they would just put you there, and then every day they would just drag you to do errands, basically dropping you off at court. And just like I explained in the video, this was one of the tactics that they did, bringing you back and forth to intake because they couldn't have placement. Any juvenile needs placement. The main thing is, if you're going to lock a kid up, he's not an inmate, he's a resident. What they did to Eddie, fast forward 1995, and they opened up the Plymouth jail, they realized there was money in the DYS. So on the Plymouth grounds, they opened up a DYS, but it was on the grounds of the Plymouth House of Correction, which is more secure. So he was in a more secure environment. Obviously, his charges reflected that. But here he is supposed to be a resident, but they were probably treating him like an inmate. Placement's very important because you don't want to give the mentality or give the kids a vision of being an inmate, or their future is just jail, institution, and death. And when you're being dragged around in the 8th bed in juvenile back then, you're seeing, you're going in and out of these courts, and you're seeing all the adults get locked up, and you're seeing the fuckery take place. You're seeing how this all works. Placement would be a little bit more better. You can get, they talk to you, get a little bit of counseling, and maybe a kid can navigate his way out of DYS. But if you're being shackled and handcuffed every day, thrown in transportation, and being around people who are being transported, including adults, I mean, it does something to your brain. It's just you start realizing, picturing it, your vision is different. You're starting to understand how it works. And even though some kids wouldn't want to go through that, most kids, but I don't want to go through that. There's another side of you that's like, well, I mean, I'm doing it every day. The 8th bed was kind of grooming you to kind of like, so to speak, like to go through it and understand it and to withstand that pain, being shackled and handcuffed, showers and strip search. If you're doing it every day for 3-4 weeks, I mean, goddamn. So it was a rough thing to be the 8th bed back then in Somerville. It was a tough spot. You didn't want to be the 8th bed. You wanted to be placed. You want to be able to have rec. You want to be able to go to school. You want to be able to get visits. Being the 8th bed, you weren't placed. You were just basically an overflow, and they were just doing whatever they wanted with you in their custody. As your parents are home sleeping, watching the news, you're in the back of a fucking station wagon, being driven up and down 95 with staff members who probably just smoked about a half ounce of weed, took clonopins, flying, going 95 miles per hour with their 12-year-olds or 15-year-olds in the back. And that includes girls too, or going in and out of the courts the next morning, not feeding you. So this is what they did, you know, and then you get out and they say, go back to school. Now you go back to school, right? And, you know, I mean, how do you adapt to school? Because once you turn that shit on, it's hard to turn that shit off. And I see some turbulence in the chat that I just peeped. Holy shit, we got some turbulence coming through. Turbulence in the chat. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Turbulence in the chat. Turbulence in the chat.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Boston.
Static
Turbulence in the
selected.
chat. Turbulence in the chat.
Boston. Can you hear me? 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you hear?
Static selected.
Yeah.
We're working too.
Boston.
I mean, my man.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Lisa McDonald, for sure. What up, girl? Hope everyone had an amazing holiday. Missed you all. Playing catch up. Disclaimer. 39. She got eyeballs popping out of her head saying, looking Jack, J.F.K. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. You know. Appreciate it. We working too. But yeah, this is Cross Street. And this is this is after they closed down. Obviously, they shut this down. But this is what inside looked like of Somerville Mentor Shelter.
It was an apartment building. There was 2 sides. It was a shelter care, but it was locked. They had a pool table downstairs. We used to play double dribble. We used to go to the park down the street. One kid I know, we were playing basketball. He did the good old, threw the basketball real far. Hey, I'm going to go get the basketball. The staff's like, go ahead. He went to go get the basketball, and he was gone. Yeah, he ran to go get the basketball, but he just kept running. Another kid AWOL from DYS. Crazy, and they couldn't chase him because there was only so many staff members, you know, at the time. And it's crazy because where we used to go to the park in Somerville, it was right next to the Assembly Square Mall. So most of us would run to the Assembly Square Mall if you ran from Somerville Mentor or Charlestown Foster Homes. So nothing has changed. As much as we want to sit around and act like everything's changed because of the internet, nothing has changed. Kids are still getting locked up. The laws are the same. It's going to be an old law. It's going to be an old jail. That's going to catch you up, right?
It's coming home. Coming home. And now they're arresting me.
I've been here and there on the run, you know what I mean? True story, you know? Department of Youth Service. Juvenile detention, planning escapes, elephant print Jordan, Maxell tapes. Working.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. How we doing out there, people? The year was 1988, 87, 89. We were all just living on a prayer. Tommy used to work on the docks. How we doing out there, long gamers? It's Sunday. It's 2:52 p.m. It is November 30th, the last day of November of 2025. What are you doing today? Can we talk about this coffee? Can we talk about Eddie O'Brien? Can we talk about the corruption? Hold on to your family. Let's go. make a difference if we make it or not. Come on, what are we doing?
And that's a lot for love. We'll give it a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Oh, living on a prayer. Time has got his six stringing high. Now he's holding in what he used to make it talk so tough. It's tough. Gina dreams of running away. She cries in the nighttime and whispers, baby, it's okay. Someday.
I need everybody in the chat right now. Sing this song if you know the song. How's it go?
Make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, and that's a lot for love. We're giving it a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Oh, living on a prayer. Living on a
We're living on a prayer, man. Tommy used to work on the docks. Kevy Kev 781.
We in here. What up, people? God damn. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Can we talk about that cup of coffee?
God damn. This is out of the new pot I got over the weekend.
Nice, kid.
Would you believe it? It's Market Basket French vanilla. I think it's got a better taste than the Dunks.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it just adds that, extra little fucking bang to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I do. Yeah. I'm down volunteering, you know. Can you come pick me up, E-Bell? E-Bell, you want me to do? I'm down here right now, no. Yeah, no, I'm on the fucking escalator.
Still on that fucking escalator, huh? God damn. You got to mix gas and oil, bro. You got to mix gas and oil.
Yeah, man. Tentacles. You got to live in the present. Life is a gift. Got to quit all the stressing. Keep feeling first. It could be gone in a second. When you feeling inside, never skip the message. They chasing money. That don't matter in the end. They follow you on social, but that's not a friend. When fame approach you, that could be your end. Devil close to you when living in sin. My man got a new liver. A lease on life. Drank himself to ICU. Streets of trife. In the towers in the bay. Sleepless nights. I don't know what else to say. Just got to keep it tight. And if you want to fly, you got to make the jump. You ever wonder why they fake the love? Summertime shine. Why they hating us? We live to die. Fine line, straighten up. What? Yeah. Mic check to the guards. How we doing out there?
Mic check. We're doing good.
You looking
good morning,
clear,
everybody.
looking good? Well, good afternoon, great friend. It's 3:00.
God damn. I was saying good morning to Renee.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Hope she's doing good.
Yes. Yeah, man. So Lisa McDonald says she lived next to the Key program at Fall River. I just played a video about DYS, the 8th bed. And DYS Untold is the untold stories of juvenile detention, the long-lasting effects. And, if Eddie would have been tried, I feel like these episodes are more imperative now more than ever because we're talking to Eddie and he's a DYS kid. He actually got sent to DYS. He actually had the truth serum in DYS and a lie detector in DYS that Riley, tentacles, did not use in trial. A 15-year-old kid connected to a lie detector machine and a truth serum, which is mixed with benzodiazepam. Come to find out, if people don't know what benzodiazepam is, just pick up your pill bottle. God damn, calm the fuck down. You know,
I mean,
Valium.
That's a cocktail that fucking.
Hell yeah. You know, anybody that knows back in the day, most people who took benzodiazepam back in the day, they broke out in handcuffs. You know what I mean?
Oh hell yeah.
And it jogs your memory, like it does something to your memory. It makes you forget. So the fact that you think a 15-year-old kid can control the narrative underneath that type of, I mean, they dosed him the fuck up.
They gave him the Kool-Aid, bro.
Thank you, Miss Manda. What up, Miss Manda? Miss Manda's always here. What up, Miss Manda? How you doing?
You didn't hurt Janet Downing?
No.
You didn't hurt Janet Downing?
No.
Did you kill her?
No.
That shit is crazy, man. That's October of 1995, ladies and gentlemen. He's 15 years old. He's under a true serum. He's an altar boy. I talked about this with Danielle yesterday. We had her on the show, Danielle, a cousin of Eddie, a third cousin of Eddie, who's running the Truth About Eddie O'Brien website. So you can check that out, Truth About Eddie O'Brien.com or something like that. You could just Google it. I'm sure you'll find it. And it has all the information you need on this journey of the Ed O'Brien, Janet Downing case. And I talked to her and I said, you know, the hard part about it, the parallel, because she was talking about the parallels of the Karen Reed case, which honestly, that was my main pitch to this, the parallels from investigate to Jen. I hit him, to Riley, to Morrissey, to CPAC units, to all different things, political gains. The difference is, obviously, I told Danielle last night, I said, Karen didn't go to jail, right?
Yep.
And it's going to be hard for Eddie, even though Eddie, the parallels are the same. He was an altar boy. Karen was a banker, right? You know, counting money. Problem is that he's not 15 no more. He's 45, and he did 30 plus years at, you know, the time he finally gets to this appeal in jail. And they're going to judge him on the 30 plus years, or they're going to look at him as the 15-year-old boy still. Because real shit, I mean, people should just look at him as the 15-year-old boy. They shouldn't even look at him as the jail career, because whatever he did in jail, whether he might have punched someone in the face, and I don't know if he did this, but I'm saying whatever he had to do in jail shouldn't matter, because you got to do what you got to do in state prison. Nice talking to you, Kevy Kev. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Give me a call.
Not my bad, man. I had some turbulence. And right underneath that, you know, that runway.
It's all good. But that's my point. My point is that whatever he did prior to the state prison sentence, technically, like you're gonna have to put that to the side, because he was 15 years old, and before he went to prison, he was an altar boy, and that's who he is. He's suspended in time. He's basically frozen in time.
Exactly. And you know, we've said this too before. You know, even with the Karen Reed trial. I mean, you know how hard it is to fight your case from inside there. You know, did you see? You know, I said it before with the Karen Reed thing, man. She'd be carrying that big binder with all her fucking, her whole case, walking to that fucking courthouse, you know what I'm saying? Or getting brought in from behind the scenes. I mean, that's what Eddie's doing, you know? Every day he's got that binder. He's going through it, you know? I mean, he's trying to fight. I mean, we're talking 3 decades, you know? Stuff is starting to fucking come back. You know? You could not, I mean, it's tough to fight your shit from inside there. You know, waiting for a phone call. You see him, I mean, he just wants to listen to what's going on. you know? And that shit gets cut off on him, too.
On March 9th of 2005, we obtained a 209A restraining order against her husband. The husband she's talking about is who? Kev.
Buddy there, Adi Ortiz.
So this is Carol Ortiz, Karen Downing, the wife of Adi Ortiz, the sister of Janet Downing, the woman who was brutally attacked and murdered. On March 9, 2005, wife obtained a 209A restraining order against her husband, Adi Ortiz, Malden District Court, docket number 2005 50R0106.
Public information.
2005 50R0106. If you guys think this is bullshit, 2005 0RO106. RO106, excuse me. The restraining order was ordered upon request by the wife, based on wife's testimony that the husband held her in the house against her will, punched holes in the motherfucking wall, and threatened her with a kitchen knife.
Unfucking believable.
You wrong. You wrong.
I mean, let's just think about the fear that was going through Carol. God damn. Lucky I wasn't fucking Carol or Janet's brother.
Norman Corey coming through 1212 on the check-in. Peace to my mods that are in the chat today. Natalie's going through something with her family. Peace signs to Natalie. I'll let her explain it to you guys, but Natalie's going through some shit. Peace to Natalie. Peace to What the Duck, of course. Norman Corey, mods, and I'm about to make Jay Brilliant a mod too. Yeah. You want to read that super chat real quick while I do this?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me. From Norman Corey. J.F.K. 1998. Adi got remarried. People have said she looked like Janet. Seems to be an obsession. His Facebook name was Ortiz Pride. Only posts are about Eddie.
Thank you, Norman.
That's fucked up, Norman.
Yeah, and big shout out Norman, man. Norman is a big part of the show too. I just want everybody to know Norman's always digging. He's always here. He's got a great insight. He's an older gentleman. He's a Dorchester boy. He knows bullshit when he sees it. He's not one of these conspiracy theories. He's a city dude, man. He's from the city. I mean, the crazy part about it is I told this story before, and I'll say it again. I remember I was with my cousin Ralphie. Norman knows Ralphie. And I'm in Dorchester with him, and he's like, Dorchester's bigger than Lynn. And I was like, no way. Dorchester's not bigger than Lynn. He's like, you're tripping. Dorchester's way bigger than Lynn. I said, really? Man, this dude took me for a ride around Dorchester, man. Like all these places that you would never think was Dorchester. Dorchester's big as shit, bro. Way bigger than Lynn. I thought Lynn was bigger than Dorchester. But yeah, man. So my point is, man, Dorchester there's a lot of tentacles in Dorchester. Norman knows his shit for sure.
Seen some shit too.
And he's seen some shit.
You know, that's crazy, Norman, man. He got me fucking over here thinking, man. So his second wife had a resemblance of Janet.
Would you believe it? Would you believe it? You know, the 90s was a dark time, man. I feel like, the 80s was a time we were all misinformed. And then the 90s came along and it was like, I feel like it's kind of like here you are in the 80s living free, right? And then, you find out about all these diseases, AIDS. Then you find out the DARE program, say no to drugs. You found out that was a pyramid scheme. All the people who the same people who did the DARE program in school, say no to drugs, are the same people who does Herbalife that sell that protein shit.
Really?
It was all like a pyramid scheme with the cops to get involved. They got extra money, and it's like you just misinformed, man. About everything. Then the 90s came, and all the 80s kids started getting older, and then the 2000 came. They became adults, and here we are now. Now they're all in their 40s, and they're just stubborn. They don't want to believe that they've been duped. They don't want to believe they grew up in them times. They kind of just turned the blinders on, and it's like. In July 23rd of 1995, if you want to believe on January 29th of 2022 that a frame-up took place in Canton, Massachusetts of a subject named Karen Reed, then you have to believe that it's very possible back then in 1995, even though the only difference is, the murders of what happened to John and Janet are both terrible. One is you left a man out in the cold to freeze to death, right? And that you could have just called an ambulance. Like, even if you hit him and he started bleeding, you should have just manned up and at least try to get him help.
Exactly.
You turned a man. I don't think they meant to kill him, but then it turned into that, right? Now, obviously, with the Janet Downer situation, that was straight.
So that was hate. There was some. You got to look at that. You got to always think about that, man. And that's where I think the question comes up is a 15-year-old kid capable of doing that? That's something
The answer is yes, though.
No, I hear you. But you think about that aggression that was subjected to her,
But here's the thing. Can a 15-year-old kid not slip out that he did it? All through the DYS, you mean to tell me they didn't have informants in them rooms with him? You mean to tell me the staff members? You mean to tell me when he was up in Walpole, they didn't stick people in the room with him to ask him them questions? You mean to tell me all these years, no inmate ever came out to say every inmate that came out of jail or DYS says that Eddie O'Brien's innocent? There's not one person who says I was with Eddie and he told me he did it.
And you know what? That's a crazy point because, we hear how, his father had mentioned how, he got shipped up to Concord, and then that was like a 5-hour visit at that prison, and then he got shipped right out. And then he went, straight to Walpole. Those were tactics, I believe, to put him in situations where, number one, either he wasn't going to make it or he was going to speak on something, just to kind of put the threat into him. At a young age, man, going into a prison like that, you talk about, banging on just the loud noise and, people banging. And you walk into Walpole, man.
There wasn't a deal on the table. You mean to tell me that they didn't say to him, you mean to tell me and that's a question I never got to ask his lawyers, and I will, and I'll ask Margot maybe next time if she's in the chat. Did they ever come to him and say, if you admit to this, maybe, and you show any remorse, maybe we can You know, even in time, even if it wasn't in that space and time, it was on the table. But like, even in the just let's just put it into this perspective. Scratch that. Better question, Your Honor. You mean to tell me at a parole hearing, he's got 30 years in, all he got to do is say he did it, and he's capable of getting some type of lighter sentence? Well, I mean, like, not lighter sentence, meaning maybe he got paroled to a. No, I'm saying not a lesser charge at the he's charged what he's charged with. But I mean, at parole, he could get paroled to a fucking minimum security. He could get paroled to a pre-release. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could be in a pre-release. Like, they could, because obviously, if you're doing a life sentence, they're not just letting you go to the street. He would have to go to a pre-release, and he would have to go through steps before he gets integrated back. But I'm saying, like, you, at this point, why wouldn't you just admit to it if you did it? And say I was 15 years old when I did it, and that I was and make up another story. Why not make up a lie and say I was raped? Why not make up a lie and say I was tortured? Why not if you're that sick to say you didn't do it, and you're that sick to lie underneath truth serum, and you're that sick to be with a telescope at that age, why not just be that sick and make up lies in this day and age, where people would kind of feel pity for you? Well, he was raped and he got hurt, and that's the reason why he raged out. I mean, he could make a lie against Janet.
You know
what I'm saying, though?
Someone just brought up a great point in the chat.
Natalie, prayers up. Yeah, go ahead.
And you got me thinking too. But like, we heard shootings. He come up here. He was like, the dude's, Adi's been a bug all these years. He's in it, commenting over his parents in chats. They've had, he attacked his parents with a lawsuit, a discrimination or whatever, defamation. He's done all these fucking things. He's taunted his little sister on her Facebook. He's got these bug accounts that are fucking, Ortiz Pride, everything, all the posts about Eddie. Why the fuck for 30 years would Eddie protect fucking Adi and not say something? If say Eddie knew it was Adi, or knew that voice, whose voice it was.
Well, Jamie says Eddie isn't protecting Adi. He's protecting the killer. Adi was the second person. That's what Jamie BB1753 says. What do you got to say to that?
I mean, that's what it sounded like, that Adi knows.
Well,
exactly
Adi's protecting some.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, it sounds like Adi knows exactly who did it.
Adi's protecting someone in family. In fact, the whole family is protecting that person. Wow. That's what Cheryl Reed says.
And I think, Jay Brill, man, I gotta take it back a second with Jay Brill. He questions Ryan's fucking whereabouts. And I think, I think that's one person that doesn't really speak on this a lot.
I mean, he doesn't speak on it at all. What are we talking? Nobody's speaking on it.
Yeah, but I mean, no one's ever questioned Ryan on where, what his actions were. I mean, do we have a statement? That's what I mean. The investigation on the kids, it wasn't done properly. I mean, it should have been, everybody, should have been, you were over these people's house swimming? Well, let's go talk to their parents. Find out how long you've been there for. Fucking, did you have a hot dog?
We don't get many cases as brutal as this.
A year ago tonight, Janet Downing was found brutally murdered in her Somerville home, stabbed nearly 100 times.
When I look back a year ago today, a woman alone in her own home, defenseless, just brutally murdered. It's a terrible tragedy. It's certainly a tragedy for the family, a tragedy for that entire neighborhood.
Arrested for the killing was 15-year-old neighbor Edward O'Brien, the best friend of Downing's son. An altar boy and grandson of the former Somerville police chief, he stands charged with murder.
It's a sad thing that happened. I knew both families very well. I worked with the grandfather as chief of police. So, all nice people. How this happened and why this happened is a puzzle to me.
The murder stunned this close-knit Somerville neighborhood. To this day, the O'Briens and some other residents keep essays posted on trees that profess O'Brien's innocence. The Downing family and the neighborhood raised money for this granite bench, which will be dedicated in Downing's honor tonight. In February, a judge ruled O'Brien should be tried as a juvenile, but the DA is appealing to the Supreme Judicial Court that he should be tried as an adult, where he could face life in prison if convicted.
Whoever is responsible for the brutal murder of Janet Downing should...
So he just said whoever is responsible. This is prior to him getting convicted. Whoever is responsible. You heard him say that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but now you know there's DNA underneath the fingernail clippings. But the thing is, like, what's the deal? And I can't believe this dude was only 52 years old in this fucking video.
Spend the rest of their life in jail. Yes.
It's just how fast your life can change just in an instant.
The anguished parents of Edward O'Brien Jr. have been living a nightmare for the past week and a half. They've launched an aggressive defense of their son, now setting up a reward fund for information in this case.
We've gotten support from people we don't even know. People that Ed knew. I mean,
People
you
that
can
we
go,
don't even know,
yeah.
that Ed didn't know. I mean, we've gotten letters
Yeah.
just signed from a friend, not even signed.
Yeah. It's just...
I think a lot of people have gone back to church. I think a lot of people are praying more.
Yeah.
And the O'Briens are praying too, because the night of July 23rd, when Janet Downing was brutally stabbed to death, their son says he was mugged by two men near the old fire station in Somerville's Union Square. The O'Briens want to find the alleged attackers.
We just want these two gentlemen
to come forward.
Just to come forward. We're not going to press charges.
We don't care what happened. We don't care. We
You
just
know,
want
we'll
them
give
to
them a
come
hug. I mean, honest to God. We just want these two gentlemen to come forward.
They know he's innocent.
They know he's innocent. They know this happened.
You know, someone in the chat said that Ryan, he couldn't sit still at the parole board hearing. I'm curious if that was the guy that was sitting behind. You know,
Ryan went up there. He talked. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talked. I got it. You gotta make me work, right?
No, well, what I'm talking about is that, you know, I seen someone else on that sitting behind Eddie when Eddie was talking at the parole board hearing, and the fucking guy couldn't fucking sit still. It's fucking fidgety like a motherfucker. Oh, it said that was Ryan that was sitting there fidgety. Paul spoke, not Ryan. That's what Shooting said. Let me tell you something. You should watch that. We should watch when Eddie's talking at that parole board hearing. There's a guy sitting behind him. Motherfucker looked like he had ants in his pants and shit.
I think it was just being stupid, scared. I think it was my belief that I didn't do this. This is just a mistake. They'll probably find out who did it. And then I think
your best friend's mother, your next door neighbor. Why would you not say something at that point?
When that night?
Once you observe what you did.
What do you mean? I didn't do anything.
Guy with the striped tie. Who the fuck's that?
Once you observe what you saw.
Look back, yeah, I see him. Yeah, that's Ryan.
Dude,
look at him. Just watch his fucking watch him.
That is one of the biggest regrets I have. I wish I had an answer for you. I just think it was the shock. I mean, I can't explain it. You're right. I should have.
Okay, and you said you saw someone in
Is that Paul? Is that Ryan?
That's Ryan.
And that's where you want to leave it?
Yes.
Fucking sketch ball. Watch.
That's
He
right.
can't sit
And you
still.
maintain that for your 29 years in prison?
Except for those first 2 weeks.
Okay. Now, as far as disclosing who that person was.
What I like to say is, I don't want people to believe me what I have to say. The evidence is going to speak for it. And there's a lot of evidence there that doesn't, there's DNA profiles there that's not me.
So I got one specific question.
Go ahead.
That I'm trying to ask.
Yep.
Did you at any point specifically identify someone else? as
Probably
being-
not.
Never.
Probably
Never.
not.
Okay.
You said publicly.
That was what?
Well, you said publicly no?
I don't think anyone cares to hear what I have to say about that. Especially back then.
Not even
Right.
to a close family member?
Oh, I mean, that's different.
Well, have you or no?
That's correct.
You did?
I have,
You
yes.
Okay, but that never came out to assist you in any way over the years?
No. My lawyers at that time during the trials, the transfer hearings, as you can see, they didn't put on a defense.
Okay.
They didn't put anything on. He wanted more money, and that's all he cared about. No experts, no challenging. We were made promises about everything, and we had nothing.
If you did do this crime, it would be pretty concerning. This is not an average murder. This is very sadistic. There's indication there might be some sexual violence involved. 98 times she was stabbed or slashed. What do you think in terms of rehabilitation that would take?
I can't answer that. I don't know. That's,
The only reason I'm asking you that is because you were convicted by a jury.
yep.
You've been trying to appeal this for how many years now?
Well, I've never filed an appeal. It seems like there's always
So you
been,
had the initial appeal after you were.
it was a direct appeal, correct.
And since then, you didn't file any further appeals?
So after that direct appeal, my attorney was working on the case, had a heart attack. It took me several years to find new attorneys. This is actually how I met Jack. I had a law firm that came into this case from Washington D.C. They needed local counsel. They wanted to overturn the juvenile life sentence issue in Massachusetts. And that's all they really much cared about. They wanted to overturn it. Then we were asked not to file anything because the publicity on my filing might have affected the issue. So we took a step back on that. After the juvenile issue came about, they didn't really stick around. And that's when someone put my name in for the Innocence program. After a review, they accepted it. And then it just didn't work out with those initial attorneys. But the attorneys that I have now, it's working out, and we're about to file.
All right, so I'm going to read to you some portions of prior testimony from the transfer. I just want to get you to comment on it, see what your thoughts are. I understand that Dr. Kinshirf wrote an updated evaluation concerning it, but I believe he was also involved in the evaluation concerning the transfer.
He had some part of I was never evaluated by him, but I know he did testify for the defense, for the prosecution at that time.
So I just want to read you some portions just to get your thoughts on this. And I'm not sure if his position is still the same today, but I'm curious as to what you think of his opinion then. It said that Dr. Kinshirf testified that assuming the material reviewed are accurate and true, including evidence that the perpetrator watched the victim undress, that the perpetrator made numerous comments concerning the victim's sexual orientation, that the injuries to the victim were as set forth in the autopsy report and testimony of the medical examiner, and assuming there were numerous cuts consistent with being cut with a knife to the victim's bra, those factors made him extremely concerned. And I think
You saying, Miss 808? Did you get that one wrong when you said that Paul? Are you saying that he walked in on Artie and Paul? Is that what you're saying? Certainly been questioning that. Miss 808 thinks that maybe some shit was going down. I meant Paul. Sorry. It's all good. That's wild. That's fucking wild.
That's fucking wild, bro.
that this behavior represents a sexualized nature to the
That's fucking wild.
This to the main possibility, sexualized sadism or sexualized sexual attack, which, if it also involved gratuitous mutilation of the body and the death of the victim, placed this in a category both a very dangerous individual, but amongst those generally thought to be the least amenable to rehabilitation. What do you think of that? This is all supposition. If you in fact committed this crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think two answers to that. Number one, you have Dr. Kinshirf here today to speak on that. And number two, the evidence he was presented was either false, fabricated, or made up, and he wasn't given the whole evidence at that time by DA Tom Riley. The opinion, what he made his opinion on, was the evidence Tom Riley presented to him. It wasn't evidence of the whole case.
Right. So he was assuming you did it, basically. Not that
From
he
what
knew,
from
he
my
was assuming based if it were true.
my talks with Dr. Kinshirf was he never made the opinion that it was me.
No, I get that. I get that.
No, just not whether I'm, it was if yes.
You were the individual who committed such a crime,
Right.
then you fit a certain profile, is what he's suggesting. But he's not saying you did it.
Right.
I just want to make
If I might, Mr. Coleman, in the transfer hearings, there was a Part A and a Part B, and the Part A would be is there probable cause to believe the person committed the crime. With Mr. O'Brien's case, there was no Part A because he had been indicted. So every witness so only the Part B was either before originally Judge Heffernan or the second time before Judge Galey. Every witness was told that because the probable cause had been found, and it's found by the indictment itself, then they have to consider that he did it, because that's the way the transfer hearing worked. And that's just, it's throughout the transcript, but legally that's also the way, that's an accurate statement, that if once probable cause is found in a transfer hearing, then the assumption is that the person did it. And in that context, in the Part B, are they going to be ability to be rehabilitated by age 21? Because that was the age at that time of DYS. Yep. I just wanted to give you the legal framework.
And just to touch on that, if you don't mind. Looking through Tom Riley's notes now, he didn't even believe that evidence back then.
Okay. So let me move on. And like I said, this is just assuming you committed this crime. And you have to understand, us sitting here today, we have to believe with having committed this crime because you work in it. It's not our job to try to stress. You do understand that?
Correct.
The appellate process ongoing.
Yep.
The former FBI agent, who I think you mentioned was thrown out of court on several occasions, he also had an opinion on this. And I just want to read that to you, get your feelings. And this is going to lead into the whole idea of rehabilitation, what you've been doing over the years. He said the offender is someone who is not horrified by what he's done, not repulsed. He is interested in his own injuries at the house. He didn't plan on the night breaking, and he didn't plan on his friends coming to the house because he thought the family was done for the evening and the victim was alone. The crime being interrupted by the friends knocking on the door forced him out the house. This shows rational decision-making, clear thinking, adaptive, and resourceful, and someone familiar with the interior layout of the house. Blood evidence shows that he went down the back stairs, leaving the bloody fingerprint on the post at the bottom of the stairs, blood on items that were hanging on the line in the basement pulled aside to get outside the cellar door. He is seen by his peers coming out of the thicket behind the house and walking down the street where 20 droplets of blood were later found. The murder weapon was not recovered, but a broken knife hilt was, and the clothing worn nearing the scene was not recovered. Concerning post-offense behavior of the offender, the query testified that he found O'Brien's report of the alleged robbery significant because it showed a resourceful, adaptive approach to unforeseen circumstances. He staged an event in Union Square to provide an excuse for the run to his hand, which a 15-year-old showed criminal sophistication, and or confidence. He called the police, and on the 911 call, he was calm, not panicked. He made no mention of an injury, just reported he was jumped. The call was made 7 minutes after Janet Dowling's body was recovered. Anything you want to disagree with that, or?
Pretty much the whole thing.
Okay.
Just for example, what you ended there with, I'll supply those affidavits of that mugging. Going
Is there any evidence at the scene of the mugging to substantiate that you were actually mugged and cut?
Is
there any blood droplets or anything found at the scene?
The cop went there with a flashlight, 30 seconds and left.
Okay. Did you at some point report that the only witnesses were some homeless guys, or?
I didn't report that.
No, I'm just asking. I thought I read that somewhere.
So the guy that, so this is another issue we're dealing with. One of the guys who were driving by Union Square that night called the Somerville Police Department to report it, and they said they'd have someone come out and speak to him, and they never did because they didn't care. It wasn't until 2 years later he contacted the state police and said, listen, I witnessed that mugging. That's when they contacted my attorneys and they went out there and got the statement from this guy.
That came about 2 years after the crime?
Yes.
Okay. And what was done with that at that point?
Once again, my attorney didn't want to put anyone on the stands. As you can see, my attorney didn't put on the defense at all. He kept on telling me, oh, we're going to put you on the stand, Eddie. Never prepped me, never spoke to me, nothing. up until the day before, he wasn't going to put me on the stand.
Was this information
Wow.
ever used in any sort of appeal?
Never.
All right, so, I'm going to start where I'm going to end where I pretty much started.
Okay.
The concerning thing is about the crime itself.
I agree with
The
you.
fact that you were convicted of it. I understand you have no history of, any sort of violence or anything like this. This is the first time you were ever charged?
He was 15, man.
But this is a highly unusual crime.
Highly unusual
Well,
crime.
My review of the file, the evidence against you that was considered by the jury.
So if it's highly unusual, why don't you talk about that DNA?
Exactly.
The jury was accurate, things of that nature. That's to be worked out in the courts. But from where we sit, you're convicted of a pretty heinous crime, which brings me to my last point, rehabilitation.
He knows he ain't getting that parole. He's just looking at
We
him.
believe that you committed this crime and that there was some sexual component to that. It's going to be a question as to whether or not you're truly rehabilitated or whether you're capable of any further crimes, motivated by any sort of sexual deviance. What do you say to that?
I would direct you to Dr. Kinshir's report.
Okay. And what's your understanding of what Dr. Kinshir's report says?
I glanced through it, but I know he touched on that. I can't speak on it. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. It's just that's something. It's hypothetical.
Okay. So from your perspective, you didn't commit this crime, and
That is
there's no
correct.
concern as far as those areas.
That is correct.
All right, so I think that answers my questions. So thank you.
Thank you.
Board Member Coughlin. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I first wanted to express my condolences to the family and the of Janet Dowling. I know how difficult and traumatizing these hearings can be for families and survivors, and especially when you're not expecting to be here initially. So I just wanted to recognize your pain and acknowledge that in the room today. Mr. O'Brien, what do you think it's like for the family to sit here today?
I think it's horrible for them.
What do you think their experiences might be? What do you think some of the feelings that they might be experiencing are today?
I'm sure there's a lot of hatred, a lot of sorrow, digging up old feelings, emotions. I'm sure they're more comfortable with me not having a parole hearing, not filing a Rule 30, and I'm sure this is something that they probably never want to deal with again.
And again, and I know this has been said, the only reason we're here really is because you were a child at the time of this case, and because of our understanding of brain science, you're now afforded this real meaningful opportunity to be released to community, but based on a demonstrated capacity of maturity and rehabilitation. And I think, like many of the board members have said this morning, that sort of demonstration of rehabilitation is a challenge because we don't have a baseline. And so in so many of these cases, I like to understand, especially when a child has committed an offense, what were their life circumstances at the time? What was their psyche at the time? What were their environmental context at the time? What were their childhood adverse experiences at the time? Sort of giving a sense of where someone's at to then have an ability to demonstrate they are a completely changed person. And I know we're not afforded that opportunity given the circumstances of your case. So my questions really are, I only really want to understand who you are and who your character is today, because I really think that's the only thing we can really consider at this point. But I just had a question and clarity in terms of the challenges you had with the Innocence Project. We've had so many people that have really experienced brilliant lawyers working for that organization, and so I've just been can you talk to me a little bit more about the challenges with the Innocence Project, why they never sort of moved forward with your case, and what was different between your idea of what should happen and theirs?
It was several issues. One main issue is the Innocence Project pretty much told me they didn't care about the juvenile transfer hearing issues, which I believe are strong issues in this case. And there was several things that are surrounding about that. That was the main thing. They determined that they wanted to retest the items in the case where it was other people's profile was found at the scene. And it was our suggestion that why not, my suggestion, the people who possibly could be is not in any database to match it against. So it wouldn't be considered new evidence. It would just be considered the same, someone else's profile. So there was discrepancies. Then we disagreed on some of those issues. But mainly, I believe that it was the juvenile transfer hearing items and appealable issues that they weren't pursuing. They only considered innocence, and they believed they had an issue there, but they didn't want to really include the other things. And they kept on telling me down the road, we'll deal with that, but it wasn't being done.
Okay. All right. So tell me about your character today and why you think it's in the best interest of society to have you living in community.
That's a great point.
As I stated in my opening, I believe actions speak louder than words. Everywhere I go today in the community
Adi was 20 years removed from the Downing family, but still had time to go to this hearing. That's strange. It is. You heard Norman Corey. He got divorced from Carol in 1998. 2 years after, a year after, he got found guilty. 1 year after. Isn't that strange?
Very strange.
And then he got divorced. But then in 2005, 10 years later, well, he got divorced in 98, Norman, right? Is that what you're saying? He got divorced in 98. And then from Carol. And then in 2005, he put a knife to her neck. So what was being said?
Right?
What was
Exactly.
being said? What made you go stick a knife to your ex-wife's throat in 2005? Norma Corey
Yeah.
coming through with all the receipts.
We fucking hanging cat shit up in her fucking rafters? Huh?
God damn.
Did you have a key to her house?
Probably did.
Some of the last things that Janet did was she had a cup of coffee. And she also said,
When you look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
When you look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
She said
investigate.
Adi, you out there this Sunday afternoon? 2008, remarried. I messed the year up. Wait a minute. So 2008, remarried?
To his new wife now, I think.
Oh, no. Oh, so he remarried in 08. Okay, my bad. So, okay, that's cool, though. So he got divorced by... So when did he get reversed? He got divorced like 07, then remarried in 08? Still less than 10 years after it went down. You think, man, he would be strong with her during that time, man? Is 10 years enough for a woman or anybody to get over a murder like that of their sister? Like, why did it all come down? You think that would have brought you guys together, no? I'm just saying.
I'm thinking she knows. I think she knows what happened, and she's afraid of Artie.
I mean, even now, Adi's probably brittle, man. Even in the 60s?
Yeah, but...
Yeah,
I'm just saying. That's the point.
I think that is part of the problem too.
He's on wife number 4. His latest divorce was filed May of 2024, and he's married since then. And that's the question. Why does he keep getting married? I mean, this is a guy, man, he likes rolling with different type of women.
So he can get free trips to Amsterdam. What's he on his 4th trip to Amsterdam too?
Oh,
fucking weirdo.
You wrong. You wrong. You wrong. You wrong. You wrong.
Clown! You are a clown! Clown! You are a clown! Clown! You are a clown!
Fucking Adi.
Clown! You are a clown! Clown! You are a clown! Clown!
You know what's crazy too, Adi, if you're out there watching? There's something, again, you slipped up that your man J.F.K. picked up on that nobody else picked up on. When we started talking about Adi Ortiz on True Crime Garage, the main thing I talked about was the testimony of Gina Mahoney and Virginia Reckley saying that when he stepped on the scene, he was so fresh and so clean. Right? Kevy Kev 781 on the Cash App.
That's right.
We also said that taxis back then in 1995 at Assembly Square Mall, they were beat up. Were they Valaris, Plymouth Valaris, Dodge Dusters? Were they the old Dodge Slant 6, Kevy Kev 781? Didn't we talk about that?
The old Slant 6.
We said, damn, man, what type of cabs were they driving back then? I mean, we sure they had some up-to-date Caprices in the cut. They probably had a few Crown Vics, I'm sure. But they still had a fleet of some slant sixes. All right, Kevy Kev, 781 on the Cash App.
For sure.
And we also said, damn, man, did they have AC? Because if he drove to Salt Station and dropped the fare off and then had to swing back to Somerville in a heat wave in July, and he was in an old school slant six Dodge with no AC, he would be pretty more sweaty than the people who were standing outside, right? Kevy Kev 781?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
The heat would be blowing, huh? Heat from the engine in that slant shitbox six, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Probably couldn't even close the vents.
Probably had the little vent windows open on the roll-ups.
Right? So he would have been sweating like a pig. Right? Unless he took the heater core out, right, Kevy Kev 781, but he couldn't do that because then there'd be no heat for the winter.
He was probably definitely adding antifreeze to that motherfucker, though. I will tell you that.
Absolutely, man. That shit didn't make it from Somerville to Method without fucking overheating.
Nope.
Especially in that hot weather. So here's the thing.
Yep. Same principle in the winter. They'd be putting the cardboard in front of the radiator, you know?
Yep. For sure. Knowing his cheap ass, he was adding water. But anyway, here's the deal. When he came on the show, Jay Brilliant, what's the first thing he said? He said that he was in what? He was in a car with AC, right, Jay Brill?
Yeah, he said his car had very good AC.
And he also said the cars were shipped in from FLA.
Florida.
And if they were shipped in from Florida, Kevy Kev 781, that would mean what?
They would all have fucking real good AC because down in Florida, it's sticky.
Yes, and maintenance would be high on them ACs, just like the heat got to work in Beantown. But here's the funny thing. He said he didn't know what type of cab he was driving. Right, Jay Brill? Do you remember, Jay Brill? You're on mute. I think Jay Brill took a smoke break. I'll pass it to you, Kevy Kev. He didn't know what type of cab he was driving, he said, right? He didn't remember what type of cab, right?
He said he didn't remember.
He didn't remember. What's that, Jay Brill?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know. I couldn't hear. You said you couldn't hear me, so.
Yeah. He said he could not remember what type of cab he's driving. He said it could have been a Dodge. It could have been a Crown Vic. He didn't know what type of cab, right? But he knew the AC was blowing, though, right?
He definitely did. He made a good point of it.
He made sure he said that.
But now in the chat, a couple of days later, Jay Bro, right? What did he say? He said he was 100% sure. What type of car was it?
Crown Vic.
Now, Kevy Kev 781. What type of Crown Vics do you like? Now, the ones that the taxis get, they get them from auctions, right? And 9 times out of 10, well, I would say 10 from 10, they're usually what? Kevy Kev 781.
They're usually either ex-highway state police cars or they're service cars for the police force. And their Interceptor editions come with the Eagle GT tires, no hubcaps, center caps. They also come with real good AC, extra heavy duty AC condensers, triple core radiator.
And they also come with 400 horsepower, right? About 300 and something horsepower back then.
Exactly.
Dual exhaust. I would say it was about 315, 312 on the horsepower back then. If I was going to guess, that was pretty fast back then.
Yes,
back then.
Training. Hell yeah.
And it wasn't so much the horsepower. It would be what? It would be the torque, right?
Hell yeah.
And what's torque do? What's torque? What does that do?
That's the amount of pressure and force applied to the rear tires of the car. And that car was definitely not limited slip. It was a posse.
It was a posse.
For sure.
So he
Probably
said
had,
he
different gear ratio in the rear end, like 355s or something.
He said he rushed back to Somerville to go check on Janet because he got a phone call. He made a phone call, and his wife, the dispatcher, said something's wrong with Janet. Right? That's what he said. I don't know how he knew it was Janet, but something was up with Janet, and he flew down there. But he didn't. But keep in mind, at first he didn't know what type of car he was in. He didn't know if he was in a Dodge or a Crown Vic, which would be totally a lie if you ask me, because he would definitely remember if he was in that Crown Vic flying down 93, right, Kevy Kev? He also said that he made an illegal U-turn to get to the house. He remembered that, right? And if he made that illegal U-turn, what type of shit would happen, Kevy Kev?
Oh, the fucking back tires would have broke free. Skirt.
And on top of all that, this guy said he dropped his key, but he doesn't even remember what kind of cab it was. But then on top of that, if he dropped his key, he would know what type of key it was back then, because every key had a logo on it, right? And if it was a Ford, what would it say on it, Kevy Kev?
It would say Ford with a round circle, their platinum emblem.
And he don't remember what kind of car he was in, but he was looking for this key to the point where he was around this cab the whole fucking night. He remembers it's number 42, but he didn't remember what type of cab it was. And he was looking for the key, and then he remembered it was a Crown Vic, but he doesn't remember speeding down 93 in a car that has over 200 horsepower with an interceptor engine with crazy torque, with crazy force. He doesn't remember none of that, especially back then being a cab guy, 10 years in being a taxi driver. He's in the cab you want to be in. This is the cab. This is the cab you want to be in. You want to be in this Crown Vic, this police car. Matter of fact, you probably thought you was a cop, didn't you, Adi? So here's the thing. So on top of all that, we find out what we find out, and we find out he's lying. We find out that the car was parked facing down Hamlet Street, right, Jay, bro?
Absolutely.
And he says it was parked up Hamlet Street. He said he could bang a U-turn and he could just turn around and go down Hamlet Street if he wanted to, right? But that's impossible, right? Because if he did that, Kevy Kev, what would happen? If he backed up and banged the U-turn,
He would have backed up and hit a fucking EMT fucking truck or a fucking fire truck.
On Boston Street. Boston Street, not on Hamlet Street. And last night, ladies and gentlemen, he said that his taxi, if we don't believe that it was parked the right way, there is footage of it parked the right way. He's seen it on the news stations. It was parked the right way. He said that, right?
Exactly.
Now,
that's what he said.
If he knew this, right? If he knew that from the jump, from the rip, from the start, here's my point. Y'all ready for the banger? If he knew that from the rip, from the jump, from the start, and he's seen footage after footage after footage, 30 years of it, of his car parked the right way, wouldn't he have known what type of and what kind of taxi it was he was driving?
Most definitely.
If he's looking at a picture of it, J.F.K.,
he would have known it was a Ford if it was a fucking Dodge, right? There's a big difference, right, Kevy Kev?
Oh, big time. Big time.
So once again, Adi, you're a fucking liar.
You are a clown, a clown. You are a clown, a clown. You are a clown, a clown. You are a clown.
Kevy Kev, will you do the honors, please? One more time, Kevy Kev.
Clown. You.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a guy who, you want to know why the cab is so important. The cab is who Adi is. The cab is number 42. The cab looked like this. This was the cab. This is what it looked like back then. That's what he would have been driving if if that's what he was driving. We don't know that for sure, but that's what he claims. And then he claims on the key didn't even say Ford. It was Mach number 42. And to segue back into what he talked about, we said, well, damn, they were Mach 42. I asked him in the chat, I said, well, they had spare keys, right? Because if they would Mach the keys 42, right, then they would make more than one of them, right? So they had spare keys, right? Why didn't you just go 2 miles down the street, right? Call another cab because you work for the cab company and just go get the spare key, right? Kevy Kev 781.
Exactly.
But he said he couldn't get the spare key. Why is that?
Because the garage was closed.
So they kept the spare key in the garage, Kevy Kev 781. Does that make sense? For and let me throw this back to Jay Brill. Jay Brill, you do a little things with, you're I don't want to throw out what you do, but you work with trucks and cars and things like that. Would spare keys be in a garage? Wouldn't they be on the board at the dispatcher station?
They'd be right on the board, accessible in case someone needs them at all times.
Bingo.
And what did our fucking boy have to say about all this with True Crime Garage?
True Crime Garage. Now, on another, back in 2017, when he talked to True Crime Garage, he said they did have spare keys.
And they also have a key machine to make their own keys.
And they also have a fucking key machine.
Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know, fucking Adi?
So let me get this straight. They have a key machine to make keys, but they keep the keys in the garage when the cabs are out like fucking cockroaches all over the cities. They keep them in the garage because they spent the money on the key machine to make spare keys to keep them in a locked garage. So when people call and say, I lost my keys, they say, well, okay, we'll just tow this cab. Why did you want to get the car towed so bad, Adi? Someone says to tow a car is the best way to transport a murder weapon, to transport something, right? Because if you drive off, are you too scared to drive the cab that night? Because come to find out, Officer Blair actually in the reports, Norman Corey, if you're out there, might check to the guards, they gave back your car key. They gave it back to you. Why didn't you drive away, Artie?
But wait a minute. What else did this fucking say? He tells us that he had the fucking garage tow it. I had the garage tow it, but the garage was fucking closed. But he had the garage tow it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I found out Phil's towed it.
What you find out?
Phil's towed it. And then when I contacted the owner, he said he ain't trying to be a part of anything.
Really?
Yeah, I heard he's connected to the mob, so I wasn't trying to press anything.
At J.F.K. Show Off, Think Speaks, who's been working real hard on this. According to the report, the cop didn't find the key. Adi found it in 10 feet from backstairs in disturbed foliage. Yeah, I got that right here. I just meant that the cop gave, okay, what I'm saying is the cop gave the key back to him. He found the key and the cop let him have it. The cop was there for it. So he must have manipulated that cop, because you got to keep in mind, these are old Somerville cops. Before the Stadies got there, they just sat around to babysit the house. And Adi, being a cab driver, probably hanging around, bumping into these cops at the Dunkin' Donuts, probably ratted some people out before. Hey, you went that way. Probably, you know what I mean? They got access to the walkie-talkie and the dispatcher. He's on the hey, dispatch, I just seen a Somerville cop chasing some black dude. He just went down Lyman Street. All right, I'll call the cops and tell them, hey, this is Green Cab. Artie, the one-man party, just said that the black dude you're chasing went down Lyman Street, and he went in a bulkhead. So he probably ratted some people out, right, Artie? That's what you did. You thought you was a cop, especially when you was in the Crown Vic. You probably thought you were probably thought you were Hunter. You ever see the show Hunter? Did you think you were Hunter back then? Did you think you were Spencer for hire?
You are a clown, a clown. You are a clown, a clown.
Were you getting baby blankets?
Get the baby
Would you always
blankets.
want a Fiero? You always wanted a Fiero, huh?
So there you go. So I think he probably manipulated the police officer to be like, hey, let me just look for my key. And the cop is like, all right, Adi, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Adi, man. You got a cigarette, bro? Let me get a cigarette. Hey, I'll make a run to Dunks real quick. I'll call a cab. I don't know what he did, but he probably knew the cop from around. It was an older cop. He manipulated his way through, and he came out clean. But the question is, why didn't you leave? Because you couldn't leave, Adi, right? Because your cab was blocked in. Number one, you couldn't leave because they had that shit all blocked in. And then you didn't want to leave because you knew you had blood in the back of the trunk and everything was there. So why not, why not still get it towed out of there? Because that way, no one could go in the car. And I like what Kelsey said, because Free Kelsey said it right. She said, hey, she called it first. You got to give it to Free Kelsey. She called it first. She said that he lied that he didn't have the key when he had the key, so he could get that car towed out of there just in case the cops say, open up the cab.
Exactly.
I don't have the key.
Have the key. And the other thing that was brought up too was that this blood stains or the blood dripping or the trail that they're talking about went across the street. Okay, not down the street 30 feet behind his fucking car. Across the street. Now, where did Gina and Virginia Reckley, where did they say they had seen him coming from?
They just said he popped up out of across the street. Yeah,
across the street.
Yeah. And then he says he never seen Virginia Reckley at all that night.
The beard reporter said that he called her over to him, and she didn't go over there.
That we're trying to build at NCCI Honor. It's all about building community, helping each other, respecting each other, caring for each other, building each other up. That's what I would take to the community. My family and friends all know who I am, and they're not supporting me just because they think I'm a good guy. They respect me. They love me. And I would take that to the streets with me. I respect, as you can see, I haven't received a disciplinary ticket in over 10 years. I haven't been found guilty of a disciplinary ticket in over 10 years. I respect the officers who treat us horrible. I treat people the way I want to be treated, and it's about respect and decency.
Great, thank you. That's all the questions I have this afternoon.
Thank you.
Board Member Ortiz.
Good afternoon. I know we've been sitting here for quite a while, but I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, a couple of comments. I'd like to ask about your childhood. I know it was briefly touched on, but tell me about your childhood, your family, parents.
So I have two great parents. They've been married since they were both 17 years old. They're loving, caring. I grew up in a great household. 17. I was lucky to have the parents I have. They still support me to this day, and I'm lucky. I've seen other guys in prison be discarded, and I consider myself lucky. The household I grew up in was a loving household. We were an Irish Catholic family. We went to church each week, Catholic schools. It was all about honor, respect. I had an older sister, Jeannie. I love her to death. I grew up with her. We moved up to the Prospect Hill together. My younger sister, Jessica.
Hey, original Jola, J.F.K, when playing Eddie, can we please watch him in 1.0 speed? It's not a good look when he's moving fast. He looks twitchy when it's not the case in real life. Oh, Jesus. Goddamn. Holy shit. I didn't think about that.
God damn.
It's going to make the evidence turn bad now. The DNA is going to turn. The
She's
DNA is going to look bad. God damn. Holy shit. Wow.
Who's right below
You can send a Venmo for $1,500 and we can make that happen.
me. She's one of my best friends today. She was a little tomboy back then in the day. I hung out with her a lot. And my two little sisters, Mary and Megan, they were babies when I came in, but I'm still their big brother. They're my little sisters, and we're strong. Our relationship is strong as ever. The household I grew up in is pretty much the same household today, just other than my grandfather's not there anymore. We all care about each other, and we all love each other.
So Prospect Hill is where you moved to, right? Where you've been to Downings, or you have met him before?
Well, my father was friends with Paul Downing Sr., but if I knew him down where I lived before, I probably did, but I was so young that I don't remember if I knew him then or not.
How would you consider Prospect Hill as a neighborhood back at that time? It might have changed today, but...
Oh, it's definitely changed today. It was a close-knit neighborhood. Everybody got along. You had generations that lived in that neighborhood of families, generation after generation. The same thing with my father. My grandfather bought the house in the, I think, the 50s or 60s. So I was like the third generation in that neighborhood. Gina today's lived there almost her whole life. Everyone was close, everyone respected each other, and everyone got along.
Safe neighborhood?
Safe?
Safe, yes.
Correct, yes.
It's a safe neighborhood. So, tell me about the first time you met the Downings. Not after you moved to Prospect Hill. And how did Ryan? He became your best friend, right?
Ryan did, yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
The memories I have about back then, I don't even know if I can say the first time I met him. I was probably 6, 7, 8, it was like somewhere around there. It was always sports. Like our whole childhood was surrounded by sports. We were always playing baseball, basketball, and that's what we did every day. That's all the memories I have about back then.
So, how often did you go over his house?
Original Jaja. Okay. I put it to 1.0 for all the people. I know people get so mad. They get so mad when you jab back at them, when you make a little thing. So listen, people, I don't want to hurt no one's feelings. I'm going to put it to 1.0 for Original Jaja. I know she's a friend of the channel. I was joking. It was a joke. It's a joke. I was only joking. I really don't want 1,500. It was a joke. I'm not mad. I will put it to 1.0. No problem. You win. You win.
I mean, it changed throughout the years. I mean, sometimes that was the point where we all hung out there. And then later on in life, that's where we, when I was 14 or 15, it was Garvey Solomon's house that was the hangout point. And John Fitzpatrick was, it was always different houses, but I was over there a lot.
You ever stayed overnight?
I don't think so.
How did you view Miss Downing? I'm just asking, she was, your best friend's mother. I mean, did you see her as a mother figure, as someone you can talk to?
I had no problems talking to her. She was respectful, caring. I wouldn't say I had a lot of engagement, so I spoke to her a lot, but it's not like I wouldn't talk to her. She was respectful. She cared what we thought. We'd come over and get Ryan or whatever, and she always talked to us.
Was there anybody living with the Downings prior to the murder? Family members will come and stay over, or?
I know for, I don't know the exact times. I don't remember exactly, but her sister and brother-in-law lived there with would be considered her niece or nephew.
Did they live there for a while, or?
It could have been a year. I tell you the truth, I don't remember. Like, I could probably read off the reports exactly, but I mean, I know it wasn't just days. It was.
So you met him, right? You met her family.
Yes.
When you would go and visit.
Yes.
And did you get along with them? I'm just, did you?
I didn't have a lot of engagements with them, but it was respectful.
Hi, hello. Okay.
Yeah.
School, you did well, right?
No, I was probably below average.
Okay.
I cared more about sports.
You ever repeat any grades?
No.
No special education services or anything like that?
The only thing that I recall was I had to go through some speech classes when I was real young, like 4 or 5 or something like that.
No issues with behavior? You never got thrown out of school?
Never been
suspended?
The only type of suspensions I had was detention for like not having my tie at Don Bosco. It's not like you go to school without your tie on, you get detention, like stuff like that. It wasn't anything.
You ever tried drugs or alcohol during that time?
The only type of thing I ever remember doing was I think I drank a few wine coolers at one event, maybe one wine cooler, we shared it or something like that. That was the only time I ever remember that.
You ever have a girlfriend?
Yes.
For how long?
A couple years.
Up to the time when you got accused of?
Probably 3, 4, 5, 6 months before.
Okay. That's the only girlfriend that
No, I had another one too, but.
Before that?
Yes. Well, during, it was on and off and then.
Okay. So, again, I know we talked about that day where the murder happened. Walk me through that day. I know you remember, going to work and so on. Can you tell me? I know you went early, right? 7 o'clock?
So 7 o'clock is usually my time that I needed to show
And
up.
how long have you been working at Was it a convenience store? Or was it a?
It was the midnight convenience store, correct.
So it was open up to midnight or 24 hours?
That was the odd thing. It wasn't. It was open from like, I think like 7 to 11 at night.
Okay.
Um,
And what did you do there?
So I originally was offered the job from the owner, Walter Goldwyn. He knew me from the time I went to school.
And how long? And I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you a couple of times. How long? When did you first started working there? How old were you?
I would say I was 13.
13. So.
I was there for a couple of years. So Walter knew me from going in and out of the store. It was like the neighborhood store that we all went to. I went to school right there. And he offered me the job to do the Sunday papers. And then it just evolved from doing the Sunday papers.
Did you enjoy working there?
Yeah, I mean, it was a weekend job. It wasn't like a weekday, unless they called me down for special, like, anytime it snowed, I'd have to go down there and shovel out the sailing and the sidewalks, or if it was something like that, or a truck was coming in, I needed to unload stuff. But it was mostly just a Saturday night, maybe Sunday morning job. But yes, I did. It was, I got money. It was a good, I've never had a problem wanting to work my whole life, and that was just another job I worked.
So what time did you leave the store?
I don't recall exactly, but normally I would leave around 12.
Around 12?
Yes.
Now you were an altar boy, right?
I was what?
An altar boy?
Correct.
Okay. So church usually took place in the mornings after.
He said I was a what?
Oh,
What are you saying?
Back then, if I recall, you had three masses. I think one was at 9, one was at 11, and one was at 5:30. If I remember correctly. So there was 3 masses.
They're asking a lot for him, huh? To
So you
remember
leave the store,
everything.
you leave your job, right?
Correct, yep.
And then you run into a couple of people on the way back home?
No, so sorry. So when I left my job at 12, I just went home and I probably ate and went to bed.
Okay.
It wasn't until 5:30 I went to mass down there, and then that's when it was just too hot to go in there. I went over to the store, hung out for an hour, and then that's when I went up the hill and I saw some friends at the tower.
Okay. Did you see Ryan?
He wasn't there. It was a different group of friends. There were these girls from outside the neighborhood used to go up and hang up at the tower, and I ran into them.
Okay.
So then I saw them, spoke to them for a few minutes, went home to go check in to let them know I was back, and then that's when I ran into Ryan. I think it was Ryan, Chris Ford, and Joey Dion.
Around what time was that?
So it was in the 7 o'clock hour, I'd say, 7-ish.
It was some.
Damn, this is an interrogation,
Okay,
huh?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So yeah,
What time
so
did it get dark?
Parents said it was a mini trial.
Remember, I mean,
I don't. I would say 8-ish, maybe. I kind of remember, if I remember correctly, is when Michelle and Jeannie and all them came back from Revere Beach. It was around 8 o'clock, and it was dark.
Okay.
All right, so I spoke. I saw Ryan and them. They wanted to go to their friend Ricky's house. I didn't hang out with Ricky. I didn't really know Ricky, and I decided to go to Gavi's house. But then I went to my house when we all left. And I just hung out with my family and the next door neighbor.
So what time?
I remember after everything was, I remember bringing the next door neighbor's kids home with him around 8:50-ish. I went to my house, talked to my grandfather for a little bit. I think, that's when I put the movie on for
Did you have dinner? I know you had something to eat earlier, but did you have dinner?
No.
So you just had something to eat earlier, right?
Correct, yep. And then that's when I decided I was going to go get something to eat. I was going to go down to Burger King.
So you go to Burger King, right?
That was about 9. It was a little after 9 now.
Okay. By yourself?
Correct, yep.
How often did you do that?
Oh, I mean.
All the time?
Yeah. I mean,
No.
Union Square was right there. They had all pizza joints and Burger King and all that.
And it was safe because.
Yeah, it was right down the street pretty much.
Okay. So you go to Burger King around 8:50, 9:50?
It was after 9. It was, I don't remember the exact time,
No,
but
I understand.
it was after 9 though.
Okay.
So after that, that's when I went out. I saw the next door neighbor there, said hi to him, real quick, and then that's when I walked by and I saw the Downing door open.
So you go in?
Yes,
Okay. And you find this horrific scene, right?
correct.
And you leave. How long were you in there, in the house?
Minutes, if that.
And you said you saw someone there. And you don't have to answer this. Did you know who that person was?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay. All right. So after that, you go. After you leave the house,
Yep.
where do you go?
I ended up going to Burger King, which was right down the street.
So you went to Burger King twice that day?
No. I never went early, like, no.
Okay, so, all right.
I think he said he was on his way to Burger King when he saw the door open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then that's when I decided, let me just go to midnight and see Frank, who was like my friend.
So you said you were shocked to find the victim, right?
Correct.
Okay. What was your reaction? Were you afraid? Did you scream? Did you?
I mean, at first it was concerned because I didn't know what was going on. And then when I saw what I saw, then it just turned into shock and horror.
So you went to Burger King to gather your thoughts and understand what you saw, right? I think you mentioned that before.
Yes, I think that's exactly what happened.
So can you tell me about your thoughts and what you thought you seen or what you actually seen?
No.
Oh, what happened?
I mean, I'm not getting into what happened in the house.
Oh, no, I'm not asking you about what happened. I'm asking you how to gather your thoughts.
Oh, I just think I wanted to go see a friend, and I was like, let me go see Frank. I was only there for a couple minutes.
At Burger King?
Yeah, Burger King, yeah. I mean, I wasn't there that long, and then I went down to go see Frank.
What time did you meet up with Frank?
I mean, he says, I think I showed up. I don't remember the exact time, but it was right around 10.
How long did you spend with Frank?
Oh, he dialed 911 and handed me the phone, so it wasn't more than, several minutes.
He dialed 911 because you got mugged.
Correct.
So between the Downing's house and Burger King, you got mugged.
Yes.
Safe neighborhood.
Oh, Union Square was.
Oh, yeah, but it was okay. Did they steal anything?
The reports state that I was like $18 were taken.
Anything else? Did you have a watch? Did you have a knife? Nothing
Shut
else.
up,
Just
this
a
guy
knife.
sucks.
No, not that I remember, no.
Do you remember anything about the mugging? I mean, were you surprised because this had never happened to you before, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you know anybody that had gotten mugged in your neighborhood before?
I mean, Union Square was a little bit more different than, say, Prospect Hill, but it was things that happened down in Union Square.
Tell me, because I'm not familiar with the neighborhood.
Yep.
Tell me how far
This guy's a scumbag. This
Prospect
fucking-
Hill is from Union Square.
Probably like a half a mile, I'd say.
Mile?
Yeah, quarter mile.
Residential neighborhood?
Union Square is not resident. It's,
Right, but between the Downings?
And that's the
well, the way I went, Prospect Hill is up on a hill. You've got to go to get to the hill. There's all different streets you can go up there, and some of those streets are residential and some of them are not.
So you get mugged, you walk to Burger King, and then you go meet Frank. What did you tell Frank happened?
I think he said he went to Burger King, and then he got mugged afterwards when he was on his way. But I may be wrong about that. Am I wrong? Oh, I think I'm wrong. I think you're right.
No,
I'm sorry.
you're-
Yeah, I'm not.
Fucked up.
I'm not sure if I'm right. I'm sorry.
Shut
I shouldn't have
up.
said anything.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
Should've.
I'm just trying to understand how the
This
events-
guy sucks.
So, I saw Frank and
What up, Nan?
more what I remember is the reports that I read today than my actual memory. And it was just more, I guess he said, oh, it looks like you ate a bad pizza, or I figured exactly what he said. There was other people in the store he was talking to, and he just said, what happened. I guess he said, what happened or whatever. And it ended up being, he called 911.
When you got mugged, were you hit? Did they
I
throw a
honestly,
knife?
I don't remember everything. And
That's fair.
all right. Yep.
So
You wanted to say
go
something,
on
Kevin Kev?
and, get charged with.
Did you want to say
No,
something?
You-
Did I
you
miss
know,
a cue?
And I wanted to just speak on that a little bit. You hear how this guy's like, well, tell me how it is. I mean, I don't know how, I don't know how those neighborhoods are, right? You know, I mean, that's somebody that's, you know, white picket fence. You know what I'm saying? He's never. I mean, he don't get out of his car in a, you know, in a bad neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Just, it's tough, man. I'll tell you, that's tough when you hear like that guy, you know, the board member drilling him with these questions, man. It's like, that dude don't have a clue on what type of temperature Somerville was in 1995. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I can dig that. Pretty wild, huh, bro?
It is. It is.
They treated it more like a mini trial than a parole hearing.
I mean, that's what it is, though. That's what I mean.
It is, but it isn't though. It's like they got the facts. They know what they're reading. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they already know. They wanted to hear from, like, because you got to understand, they already knew coming in that he wasn't admitting to the crime. So they already knew him coming in. He was going to say he was not guilty. So they decided to say, okay, you're going to say you're not guilty. We're going to ask you 1,000 questions about it and trip you up and see if you're guilty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus if he would have went in as a usual parole hearing and would have admitted to the crime, they wouldn't have asked him all them questions. If he was coming in like a regular cat, first thing he would say is, someone who did something like that would say, I feel for the family. I'm wrong what I done. It's wrong. I should have never done that. This is what happened. I did it because of this and that. I was this.
These are the programs I completed during my incarceration. I get it. I know what you mean.
But they knew going in, he was going in. They already got word. His whole point, he was using that parole hearing as a platform to get the story out. And that's exactly what it did. By having this piece of, if he would have never did what he did at that parole hearing, we wouldn't have this footage to go over. We wouldn't be able to see him in real time. We wouldn't be able to basically have a conversation with him that like we're doing right now, even though it's not in real time, but it's present. It's in the present where it's, you know, it's recent. It's in the last, 5 years time, and we could see his outlook on things, and we could get an idea if he's guilty or not guilty or where he stands on this. And based on what I've seen so far, I don't know if I really believe that mugging story. That's a tough story to sell with me. How about you, Kevy Kev?
It is a tough story to sell. I mean, that's going to be a big hurdle for him. You know?
And the worst thing is that guy died.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and then, you know, and that he's, you know, I've heard that, I've read this in a few things too, that, you know, that gentleman had seen the mugging, let's say, and reached out to the police that night, knowing or whatever, they might have followed up with them or whatever, or they didn't follow up with them. He waited around, they never came, he left. You know,
I think so too. I'm sorry, Kevy Kev. I keep doing that to you. I'm sorry, bro.
That's all right. No, but I mean, it's like, you know, and then, you know, in 97, he's saying, damn, like 2 years later, I seen that. That was the night there was a crazy murder. I remember seeing that, you know, I had called. I mean, that's somebody that made a phone call in my eyes for someone to have that triggered experience of saying, God damn, this was the same night that I made that phone call. No one ever came out to me. I mean, if he had a signed affidavit and now, you know, leading up to this, I guess this guy is no longer around. So I don't know whether that affidavit would be, you know, justifiable. I mean, I mean, it's a signed affidavit. I mean,
he has to run in that direction, you know, because at the end of the day, they already proved his guilt, right? Beyond a reasonable doubt, they proved it. Now, if he gets the new trial, based on what Think Speak says right here, J.F.K., I think Eddie is pivoting away from the mugging story, and he can have a story on why he said the mugging story. We're going to find out. We're going to find out if he's still, I mean, it's It's possible that it could have happened. Just by looking at his, I just don't know if I sat eye to eye with him that I could sit there and like if I asked him that question, Eddie, did you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I mean, he might tell you, I mean, that, like you said, I mean, there's things that he didn't speak on in this hearing, it was more, I see it, for what it is. It's more of like, a platform for him to speak is in all reality. I mean, I don't think that he was done getting some information as well. I think things were still coming in and he hasn't received it all yet. You know what I mean? It is crazy, man. Throw up some let's see some shamrocks in the chat for Eddie up in Gardner. Let's go, people.
What that witness dude, it just makes sense that if he seen the trial started 2 years later. That's like, he was like, oh crap, I've seen that, and then called out to the state police. That's what I get from it. Only makes sense 2 years later.
And it sounds like somebody that knew that, like, goddamn, like this could change this kid's life. You know what I'm saying? Like my statement could change everything, if that was the case, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other thing too is that, and I know this deep down inside, man, is that Eddie wants us to really dig into these notes from the DA. There was something going on there. There's a reason, even why the prior case with Deanna Cremens, that the investigation was fucking short, not followed through. I mean, there was some shit going on. Something was going on. I mean, and you see this. I mean, even with the Karen retrial, there was the Sandra Birchmore shit that went down.
It's crazy.
It's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? My bad. I just this it seems like, there was other things that were fucked up.
The whole investigation was fucked up from start to finish.
Definitely.
I mean, the way they set him up in that parole hearing was pretty wild, man. They lined him the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They lined him up, bro. Straight like that.
And he kept the school the whole time, too.
That's a great point.
Like someone who's guilty, you would think they would like start getting jittery and start getting agitated. He just held his composure, answered the questions that he could answer, and I think him not answering certain questions didn't help, but he can't. That's for his appeal.
And like I said, they knew going in that was his take on it, and they went in there with a whole. So think about it: like how many times does a parole hearing? This is. How many times does a parole hearing or people in the parole business have an experience like that, where someone's coming in to actually argue a parole that they should be paroled, but never admit to the crime and say that, I'm not guilty, but I'll still take the parole. And knowing going in, like that's not the way this works. Like we're not going to give you a parole if you're not taking accountability, but yet it's your right to see parole because of the law. So they know he's using it as a platform. So they're doing everything in their power to discredit him. You know what I'm saying? They're doing everything in their power to make him look stupid. And like to Brilliant's point, he held his composure and he held it down.
Yep. And
Absolutely.
parole is a privilege.
Yes, it's a privilege,
It's not constitutional law that we have to have parole. It's a privilege.
No, it's a privilege, obviously, but it is a constitutional law that he has to see the board. So he utilized it to see, like he has to see the board. Like if he says, I want to see the board, like he every year he's up for so now he got pushed back 2 years, right? So in what, 18 months, he sees him again, less than probably a year, he sees him again. So that's his right. That's his right that he could see him again. He could do this all over again. He could go in front of the board all over again and do this thing all over again. Hey, he could keep doing it and keep recording it and keep using it as content. So in a year from now, he could go up there and he's going to know how they're going to come at him now. Now he's going to have a different POV. Okay, I know how you guys are going to try to come at me. And then he could come strategic and say certain things to put out to the public. He could slip something in there because we don't see Eddie, right? We don't hear Eddie. We don't get to see him at all. Like he could throw it back at him. Hey, my DNA is them profiles wasn't real. Let me ask you, can I ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the board, can I ask you a fucking question? What if I would tell you that my DNA is not there underneath their fingernail clippings? They ran it to me. It didn't come back to me, Eddie O'Brien, but it's somebody else's. What would you say about that? Would you say that I deserve a free trial? That's just a question. And even if they don't answer, he did? No, but he didn't say. No, but he didn't say. He said that the DNA is not mine, but he didn't ask them what would they do about it if they you know what I mean, like what's their feelings of it. You know what I mean? Now he can take it a step further and say, well, what's your feelings about that? Can I ask you what's your feelings about that and see how they react to that? And, the reaction is probably going to be, we can't talk about that. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. That's a court problem. We're parole. That got nothing to do with us. That has something to do with a judge. And that's the answer you're looking for. And that's basically what they said already. But still, to put it in a different context, to utilize it, and to see what Ryan says, and to see what Paul says, and to see Adi watching through the window when he mentions that, and he emphasizes that, and let them know every time I see parole, I'm gonna bring that point home every single time until I'm out of here. I'm gonna say, so let me ask you motherfuckers a question. You know what I mean? And so that's a good question. I mean, isn't that the question of this whole case? Whose DNA is it?
Yeah. Whoever's DNA is under those nails is sorry to say about the killer.
Everybody in the chat, I have a question. Whose DNA do you think's underneath Janet Downing's fingernails? Drop it in the chat right now.
Let's go, people. Let's go.
Static selected.
Yeah. We all reppin' for Boston, Mass. All green, everything. Brought up, we were bleeding green.
Static selected.
Yeah. We all reppin' for Boston, Mass. All green, everything. Brought up, we were bleeding.
For the fact that his blood is in that house. He never explains that away in the tape, and he would not have been able to explain that away at trial. And all of this is that Ed O'Brien has been convicted of killing Janet Downing.
You didn't hurt Janet Downing?
No.
Did you kill her?
No.
He never accounts for the fact that his blood is in that house. He never explains that away in the tape, and he would not have been able to explain that away at trial. And all of this is that Ed O'Brien has been convicted of killing Janet Downing. That's never going to change.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
Got a lot of Pauls, got a lot of Adi, got some Ryan in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Jr., man. I mean, but you got to say to yourself, if it's Paul Jr., that means he went in and he did it in 15 minutes and he cleaned all the blood. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't, I can't see how it's Paul Jr. I just can't. Now, Ryan, on the other hand, it's back to what Jay Brill said. We don't know how long he was in there for, right? Because they did say they heard bang, bang with some skates, right?
We don't know how long he was there. We don't know if he changed before, after. No one knows what he was wearing after he left. Nothing. No one knows nothing about Ryan.
You know, what if Adi came in the basement, was rummaging around down there trying to get his shit, and Janet ran down and they started arguing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but from what I understand, everything happened on the stairs down, from the top of the stairs down. That's where everything happened. They probably happened upstairs for all we know, but they never checked upstairs. So how do we know if there was any blood in the shower, any blood in any bedrooms or anything? We don't know, but we know it happened at the top of the stairs.
Wild.
And that's why I'm leaning towards Ryan, because, at first I always thought it was Artie. I always knew he had something to do with it. Then I was leaning towards Paul because he went in the house. And then when Artie slipped up about the rollerblades,
To do. This boy's innocent.
I'm listening.
then when Artie slipped up about the rollerblades, that's just like, hold up. Paul didn't have the rollerblades. Ryan had the rollerblades. Artie went to Ryan in the car. You know, like, it's just all funny. And then he gets so mad, leave the kids out of it. Dude, the kids are part of it, whether you like it or not.
Right.
I mean, just that statement alone from Michelle Cameron's brother. You know, they gave Paul a ride to the hospital, and when he got in the hospital room, he said, you know, Ma, I'm sorry for fighting with you earlier. And he's like, oh no, Ma, I'm sorry for fighting with you. I don't think I locked the door. Like, to me, that sounds like Paul saying, Ma, I'm sorry for fighting with you. I don't think I locked the door. Like, so he must have fought with her earlier that day. Because if he's talking on the second half about locking the door, it must have
You
happened.
could be right about that. He could have got into an argument before he left with her, but you know how twins are. Twins are stronger than anything. Like, I don't know. We don't know what Ryan was all about. We don't know when he got back.
What happened?
Lieutenant Family was at me.
And this little turd ball.
In the tape.
Didn't say
You know they
find
were
a
all
way
part of a
behind.
crew called Senate, right?
Yeah, you told me.
And he did what he had. Monster. They have been at the stream.
yes, he
Trying to find.
You know, it's these discussions that we're having now
Test
that really,
or a
you know,
determination that the
help
jury's
with
supposed to
in
make.
line.
Are you telling the truth?
Another bloody finger.
Man, I don't know where the hell it is. I'm sorry, guys. I was just looking for
Oh,
something.
that's all right, man. Do your thing. I was just reflecting on, you know, I mean, us, you know, when we sit here and we kind of throw things at each other. I mean, sometimes this is the shit we do behind the scenes. But you know, you start to think about what you've read, what you've seen, what you've uncovered. You know, just the, you know, I mean, just the fact that we're talking about Janet, her two sons, a daughter, let's say the ex-husband. I mean, the two sons, their blood's practically the same. Their DNA is pretty damn close. They're twins, you know. If they're not identical twins, then, you know.
They're not identical.
You know, and I believe, you know, Janet and her kids, I want to say, I believe they all had the same blood type. But there is one male Caucasian that's unspoken for.
I think I read in one of the documents last night, it was like 1 in 320 that it could have been white, 1 in 460 that it could have been Hispanic, and then black in whatever, it was 1 in like 1,500.
Yeah, I read that.
Man. I'll find something. That was that one. I think there was clips, right? There was a clip. There's clips of Ryan Down talking. I must have not used them.
In the parole hearing, he talks.
He talks, right?
Yeah, it's after the one that you were watching. I don't know if it's the third one or the one that we were just watching. It's like one of the first long ass things I sent you. There was like 12 or 13 different angles of it.
I played it before with Ryan talking. Let me see. You said it was Ryan that talked, right?
Ryan talked at the parole hearing, and that's what made me sketchy about him, the way he acted. And they all looked like they were reading off a script. Like, I don't know if anyone ever. Yeah, but think about it, right? If you lost someone like that, you're not going to read something word for word for word. They never took their eyes off that paper. You're gonna read from your heart at some point, and they never did. That was all scripted to them.
Ryan Downing, the son of Janet Downing.
Is Ryan
Yeah, that
right
was
here?
him sitting there.
Yeah, it's Ryan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I wish I had decades worth of stories to tell you about my mother, but unfortunately I don't, because he took those decades away from me in the cruelest, most imaginable way. In the cruelest way imaginable. So these are some details about my loving mother from my brief 16 years I had of her in my life.
Where's his
My
brother?
mother treated those around her with kindness, fairness,
Notice
and
that,
respect.
J.F.K.?
As a young boy, I remember my
He wasn't
mother
there.
giving her time and energy to helping others in need by working with
where's
Meals
Ryan?
on Wheels. I remember countless days of riding in our station wagon, delivering meals to those in need. My mother taught her children to help others in the same fashion. Every snowstorm, my mother would tell me and my brother to shovel our elderly neighbors' properties before we'd go outside and play with our friends. She always told us not to accept cash for doing this deed, but our neighbors would put money in our pockets and tell us not to tell her. This was the nature of my mother, a warm and caring person who always thought of others. My mother's days were spent balancing working full-time as an administrative assistant in a hospital and raising her 4 children. There were no days off from my mother. Her most precious moment was dinner as a family, a ritual she always made sure we did every night. As a young boy, I certainly didn't appreciate, as I do now, all the questions she would ask of me, like, how was your day? Or, what did you do today? Or sometimes I would just notice her staring at me without saying a word. Chalk that up to an angsty teenage boy.
I can't get over the fact that his brother ain't sitting there listening to him.
Just trying to avoid a mother's pestering questions. I wish I can go back to have dinner with her just one more time. My mother's center was her family and holiday celebrations at our home. I remember we would cook up an absolute feast from scratch and invite our many aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents over to eat, open presents, and celebrate. Christmas was her favorite time of year, and she loved to decorate our tree with tinsel. She was very proud of her children for their academic achievements, especially my sister Erin, who set the bar rather high for the rest of us. I like to think our achievements inspired my mother to go back to school later in life, but unfortunately, her goal of finishing school was cut short the night she was murdered by the inmate. The night of July 23rd, 1995 still burns in my memory. They say that time heals all wounds, but after all this time, I can honestly say that it does not. That wound still festers, and time cannot fully heal it. I remember the shock and fear I felt as I arrived home that night, just hours earlier, seeing my mother at peak vitality, but now laying battered, bloodied, and unresponsive on our dining room floor. Her blood covering the walls to our staircase that led to the second floor, and furniture overturned. I remember the paramedics working to get air into my mother as they carried her to the ambulance, hastily loading her limp and near lifeless body into the ambulance, and then swiftly departing. I remember the overwhelming sense of dread that filled my soul, that I would lose my mother that night. I remember the numbness I felt after my father told me to be strong for my brother, who would have to experience what I just went through. I remember seeing the bravest person I know, my brother Paul, being sedated in a Somerville hospital room for shock. Undoubtedly, my family and I have suffered from PTSD, depression, and the anxiety issues in the aftermath of my mother's death. Also, my children will suffer from this generational trauma that he has caused them. My sons were robbed of the experience of having their grandmother in their lives. And though we all have been victimized by his actions, I am reminded of the true victim of that night, my mother. We will never know how the inmate gained access to my house because he refuses to admit responsibility for his crime. But what we do have is irrefutable evidence and eyewitness testimony.
He keeps calling him the inmate. It's crazy.
At the crime scene,
testimony,
which expose all the inmate's lies of what he believed happened on that night.
The inmate's lies. Bro, come on. The inmate. The defendant. Back to the parallels of Karen Reed. The defendant. The inmate.
So that's Ryan right here. This is Ryan.
That's Ryan.
Yes.
Buddy. Yeah.
And Paul was sitting behind Eddie in that empty chair. Where's Paul? How come he ain't sitting there now?
No, that wasn't Paul that was sitting there. That was someone that was for Eddie.
Oh, yeah?
Paul's not there. I don't think Paul showed up.
No, Paul
There
didn't
was
show
no
up to
boogeyman who he stumbled upon, killing my mom. He alone attacked my mother and stabbed her 66 times and slashed her 31 times and did other horrible and perverse acts to her body as she lay dying. When paramedics and an officer arrived, they observed that my mother had suffered stab wounds to her neck, upper chest, abdomen, legs, and back, so many that he could not count them all. The shorts of my mother's right leg, were pulled up to her crotch. As they removed her shirt, Officer Blair at the scene noted that my mother's bra was loosely draped across her breasts, and the cups of my mother's bra had numerous stab cuts in them, yet there were no stab wounds to her breast. Dr. Rob Crinch, a forensic psychologist, and Dr. Donald Conde, a psychiatrist experienced in dealing with children and adolescents, both testified that the nature of the crime indicated both overkill and a sexually sadistic homicide. He has never taken responsibility or shown remorse. All the prison classes he's taken won't change the fact that the inmate murdered a beautiful and innocent woman, my mom. Nothing he accomplishes in his worthless life can bring back my mother. Nothing. And no amount of classes or days spent in church praying can fix evil. So while you weigh the pros and cons of why you believe the sorry excuse of a human being should have a second chance at life, something he certainly did not consider for my mother, ask yourself this: would you want him living next door to you if released?
No, if he did it, absolutely not. Goddamn, pissed.
Middlesex County Assistant District Attorney Adrian Lynch.
Adrian Lynch, hold on a minute.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Adrian Lynch. I'm an Assistant District Attorney in Middlesex County, and I'm the Chief of the Homicide Unit. On behalf of the Middlesex DA's office, I thank you for the opportunity to address the board on this important issue as the representative of law enforcement in Middlesex County. It is certainly challenging for the board to have to make a determination as to whether or not someone who was 15 years old at the time they committed a brutal and heinous crime with sadistics, sexual overtones, and overkill is presently rehabilitated in the face of his denial of his responsibility. What can strike you from listening to Mr. O'Brien's testimony throughout the hearing today is that he has an excuse for everything but responsibility for nothing. He may want to claim that he has a motion for new trial, but the question is, in 24 years since his conviction was affirmed, why now? Why, before his hearing before the parole board, are these issues raised? Are they just to send a smoke screen? So,
Lady, that's a lie, man. I said this before when I talked about this lady. This lady saying it's a smoke screen. He just matched. See, that's what I mean. Play fair, man. You're killing his credibility. He's been saying he's not guilty. You know the reason why it's coming out now, and you know the reason why he's taking the steps. It's the time is now. It has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with him putting a smoke screen or playing games and he's really the murderer. No, he's coming out now and he's asking you. So my question to you, woman, lady, my dude, whatever you want to be called. What about the fingernails? What about the fingernail clippings, the DNA underneath the fingernail clippings, Miss DA? Why wouldn't he want to get that tested? And why do you care? Why do you care? He's been down 30 years. If he would have got tried as a juvenile, he'd be home. Do you know that, Miss DA? You know that, right? He'd be home right now. Bro, Eddie's guilty as fuck. Okay. That's cool. But that's not what we're saying here, my dude with the dog. SWH415. I like your dog. Is that you in the picture? You can talk? You're a talking dog? You can really talk? What type of dog? Is that a pit bull? Is that a bull mastiff? Mastiff? What do they call it? Is it a big Boston Terrier? They got overgrown Boston Terriers? I thought Boston Terriers were small. Is that a white albino Boston Terrier? I didn't know they talk. Do you got your dog whistle with you? But you got something else with you, right? Kevy Kev? To talk to the dog?
Yeah. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
Oh, wow. I didn't know the dogs could talk.
Sit, boy, sit.
Even if that's the case, right? That if Eddie's guilty or not, what I'm saying here, puppy, right, is that good boy. What I'm saying is that this is not like some fabricated thing and he figured this out now. This been on the table forever. Margot Nash, they've been fighting this angle forever. For 30 years, the angle that he's going at, they've been doing this forever. This was part of the first trial, the very first one back in 1997. This was the whole trial. It's just a shame 30 years went by. What part of that don't you understand? And that right there is killing credibility.
We have Eddie guilty?
so that you won't look at the actual facts of the case. The reason behind the law emerging between science of brain development and the law is that juveniles are viewed as unique because if they are treated at the right moment, their characters are not set psychologically. They have a malleable personality and they can be rehabilitated. However, Mr. O'Brien's consistent denial of involvement and lack of engagement in any treatment whatsoever has closed that door, which is the very reason I would suggest behind giving juveniles the opportunity once they are adults and have served a specific period of time. I think it's important also to note, as mentioned in the letter of the Middlesex District Attorney's Office, that the legislature, after Miller and Diachenko, set a statutory minimum of 30 years for someone who is convicted of committing a murder by extreme atrocity or cruelty when they are under the age originally of 18, now of 21. And so the legislature recognized that 30 is the minimum for a crime of extreme atrocity or cruelty. Now, certainly it's not applicable to Mr. O'Brien. His murder was many years before, but it speaks to the societal interest. And in this particular case,
You are a clown, a clown.
The sadistic nature.
You are a clown, a clown. You are a clown, a clown. You are a clown.
Because I was having Jen get the baby blankets to
clown.
I went in about 4 or 5 hours after to get the kitty litter box and the kitten.
Clown. You are a clown, a clown.
because I was having Jen get the baby blankets to wrap around him.
I went in about 4 or 5 hours after to get the kitty litter box and the kitten.
Clown. You are a clown, a clown. You are a clown, a clown.
Yeah. Yo. Summer of 1995, hot night in July. Why did Janet have to die? This is the story of Eddie, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The system is petty, juvenile law and politics so deadly. 15 years old, known as Big Lovable Teddy. Janet Downing, 42 years old, what's the motive? Killed in her home, young mother devoted. Eddie went in the house, the door was open. She was on the kitchen floor, laying there frozen. Eddie claims this was not what he planned to see. A man with a mask grabbed him. Be quiet. I will kill your whole family. Eddie left the house, ran up the street. Around the corner, washed up in the bathroom at Burger King. Janet was stabbed multiple times. Rest in peace. It was a gruesome murder scene. I agree. Eddie went to his work, said he got jumped, but never said a thing. What? About Janet lying there lifeless, his friend's mother from across the street. Shh, he was in the house. But Janet had a brother-in-law she kicked out for selling drugs. Said if anything ever happened to her, it's him you bring up. The night of the murder he showed up, was acting suspicious in the front yard. Gina in Virginia says he was looking for his keys. It was humid and muggy, but we were showered and neat. He was a cab driver looking for his key. Looking for a key to one of the cabs in the fleet. Yes. How did he know something happened on that street? Eddie says he is innocent, and the cab driver did it.
Who do you believe?
Believe.
DNA under Janet's fingernail unidentified. Who do you believe?
Come on, come on.
This is the story of Eddie, 15 years old.
Life in prison.
This is the story of Janet, life taken and stolen.
For no reason.
It was the summer.
July 1995.
Do you all remember?
30 years ago, why she have to die?
15 years old, locked in a cage, a murder that he always denied.
Let's go. Summer of 95. Life goes by. Welcome to the stream. Long gamers. Peace and love. La la la. Let's take them back.
If you look at the evidence, you'll see the truth.
What's the truth?
I went in about 4 or 5 hours after to get the kitty litter box and the kitten. That was it. And what I seen, to this day, I don't wish anyone to see what I saw.
I don't know if I can face it again. I can't stop now. I've traveled so far to change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is.
Yeah.
What you can show me.
time in jail than he has to after this.
I don't know if I can face it again.
The evil little man of Mr. Riley get on that stand and rip my son apart?
Patricia,
No.
beyond the question of whether Eddie should testify, I just want, it's been more than 2 years, your reaction.
Adi Ortiz murdered Janet Downing.
I went in about 4 or 5 hours after to get the kitty litter box and the kitten.
Get on that stand.
That was it. And what I see.
And rip my son apart?
Patricia,
No.
beyond the question of whether Eddie should testify, I just want, it's been more than 2 years, your reaction.
Adi Ortiz murdered Janet Downing.
I go by the name of J.F.K. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We're getting up out of here. Another 3-hour stream. We'll see you a little bit later on tonight around 8:30 or so. I go by the name of J.F.K.
I go by Kevy Kev.
And I go by Jay Berlon.
Appreciate y'all. Venmo's JFK show off. What up, Boston Brandy? Peace signs up for Boston Brandy. Throw your peace signs up for Boston Brandy. Boots on the ground. She's here with us. Throw your peace signs up for Nan. She's rocking out with us. Remember, the Venmos are open 24 hours a day in the Cash App if you're feeling nice. And other than that, I'll check you guys out in a little while. Peace and love, y'all.
My dogs are watching you, Adi.
I just wanna chill and twist the lie. Catch stunts in my 745. You drive me crazy, shorty. I need to see you and feel you next to me. I provide everything you need, and I like your smile. I don't wanna see you cry. Got some questions that I gotta ask, and I hope you can come up with the answers, babe. Girl, hey, it's easy to love me now. Hey, would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me, girl? It's easy to love me now. Oh, now, would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? If I fell off tomorrow, would you still love me? If I didn't smell so good, would you still hug me? If I got locked up and to a quarter century, could I count on you to be there to support me mentally? If I went back to a hoopty from a Benz, would you poof and disappear like some of my friends? If I was hit and I was hurt, would you be by my side? If it